Buying lower price somewhere else on the same item? We'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game. Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game.
Turn the dial up, it's that power in the voice. Sherwin speak truth, he ain't never had a choice. Milwaukee on the map, he connecting all the noise. Talk real, walk real, never playing with the toys. Facts load heavy when he step to the plate. Every segment cut deep, he be raising the stakes. While they mumble in the dark, he be sparking debates. Big brain, big heart, got that leader's grace. He the voice of the city and the soul of the street. Truth ride, the baseline, wisdom in the beat. Ain't no filter when the mission is clear. Sherwin Hughes, they respect or they fear.
Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game. Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game.
They be calling it a show, but it's really a movement. Dropping jewels daily, you can feel the improvement. Got the facts in the fire, never watered it down. He a giant on the mic, wearing intellect's crown. No cap when he snap, every topic get touched. Ain't afraid of the smoke, nah, he welcome the rush. While the rest play safe, he be speaking the rough. Cut from a rare cloth, he ain't fabric that's plush. Policy the people from the hood to the hill. He break it all down, keep it raw and real. You ain't heard radio till you tap this wave. Sherwin got the truth that the nation crave.
Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game. Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down.
He the
best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game.
Industry king got the crown in place. They be watching from afar, try and copy the grace. But the voice too rare and the mind too cold. When Sherwin drop gems, it's like bricks of gold. He ain't just talking, he changing the scene. From the struggle to the power, he be building the dream. Milwaukee's own, but his reach go wide. When he talk real ones, feel that pride. So salute to the man with the mic and the cause. He ain't in it for the fame, he be breaking the laws of fake radio. He the realest to do it, to do it, to do it, to do it, to do it.
Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game. Sherwin on the mic, better tune in now. Milwaukee flame, he be holding it down. Best in the biz, put respect on the name. Whole nation know he ahead of the game.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Yes, I did go back to my AI intro. Every now and again, I may mix it up a little bit. You know,
I was turned up in here.
I know you were.
I want to do some ad-lib. I want to hype it up.
You know what? Maybe that's what we need to do, because people got on me like, oh, Sherwin, it doesn't have any soul to it. It's not authentic. Maybe you being the hype man on it.
Should I do my Zech and my Benjamin?
I mean, within reason, I suppose.
I mean, of course. You know, we like to keep it very decorum, very eloquent here.
Very demure, very,
yes.
Sometimes. Well, I try to anyway, but it's not my fault when the show goes off the rails. It's usually the callers that we get that take a lot of liberty to discuss whatever the hell it is that they want to discuss, regardless of whatever it is that I happen to be talking about. But today we are going to keep the show focused because the topic that I want to address, and I want to take my time with this topic, and I hope that you engage with us in this topic as well, because on Sunday, that will mark the 5-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, which, as far as protests go and as far as racial incidents go and situations of excessive force and police brutality, the worst one that I have witnessed. And there have been others, but there was something about that particular moment where the world was stuck behind their screens because of COVID. This situation took place, and people said, you know what, this one is so egregious, this one is so outrageous, that we have to take to the streets on 6 different continents to protest the ill treatment of a man who, for all intents and purposes, was just accused of passing a $20 bill that was counterfeit. There's one thing that I contend in that very, very tough and complicated, and it was violent. There was violence all over the place. There were, agitators that came in to make the situation worse. It just was just a powder keg that we knew was ready to explode because people were already very anxious because of COVID and the world was shut down, and we didn't know what any of this stuff meant. But what was weird, because the world was facing something that we had not faced in 100 years with that pandemic, and we didn't know how that was going to go. So everything was going to change. We didn't know what it meant for our jobs, for the economy. We had no idea what it meant for our supply chains. Remember, we ran out of damn toilet paper. Most Americans have never seen store shelves empty because of the kind of society that we are. We are a consumer economy. Our store shelves are stocked. And here's what's crazy about us. If we go to the store and we're looking for a particular product, and if we don't see it on the shelf, what do? We ask somebody that works at the store, hey, do y'all have this in the back? Do you have this somewhere in the back storeroom? Because I don't see it on the shelf. That is how used to having our products on store shelves that we are. But here's one of the more poignant moments from the murder of George Floyd. And I know that everybody interacted with that situation very, very differently. Even when the world was changing because of this once in a century global pandemic and the world was shut down and we didn't have a vaccine yet, police brutality remained consistent. It still remained in a world that we knew was going to change. There was no intent to arrest George Floyd. There was no intent. After a period of time, he clearly stopped moving. He stopped resisting. If Derek Chauvin's actions were to subdue him or to get him to calm down or to weaken him or to break George Floyd physically, that was accomplished. But if you recall the video, Derek Chauvin just stayed there. He was not going to move until George Floyd was dead. That, in and of itself, was the worst part about the entire ordeal. The fact that even in a world that was changing, police brutality will remain constant. And you almost have to think, even if we got bills and laws and policies and ordinances, and let me be abundantly clear, there were a dozen or so cities that were under consent decree of the federal government. Yet another thing that Joe Biden did that people paid zero attention to, these consent decrees required local police departments that had a history of excessive force and police brutality, particularly against African Americans, that they had to follow new rules, new protocols, and new procedures because they had a history of violating people's rights and their civil rights and excessive force, et cetera, et cetera. Donald Trump lifted all of those consent decrees, and I don't want that moment to be missed. Here we are, almost 5 years to the day of the murder of George Floyd, and the only thing that we didn't get a justice and policing bill. We didn't get law enforcement reform really of any kind. We got consent decrees in Louisville, Kentucky because of Breonna Taylor. That I think there was one in Atlanta because of Ahmaud Arbery. And, of course, the Minneapolis Police Department that we come to find out had a long history of being discriminatory and racially profiling African American men, which culminated with the murder of George Floyd. So the Biden administration is like, look, because you have this documented history of discrimination and racial profiling against African Americans, here are new rules that you must follow per the Joe Biden administration. Donald Trump removed all of those rules, so it's almost like those police departments that were under scrutiny, they were under a microscope because of their previous treatment of African Americans, are now free to do the same thing all over again. On today's program, I want to talk about what we've learned, how far we've come, and ultimately what was exposed. But it's not to just fly in the face of white Americans and their racism and their discrimination. It's not, because I could very easily do that, but I think that would be crushingly boring. But it's to illustrate what black people have been saying for so long in so many different ways. We've been nice about it. We've been angry. We've used our art. We've used our culture to try and illustrate it. And 5 years after, what most would agree, even other cops were like, oh, yeah, that was terrible. I remember seeing the interviews with other police. They're like, this makes us look bad. And some cops were like, look, we already have a bad reputation in some of these communities, but this situation with George Floyd helped nothing. But then there were moments where I was encouraged and I remained optimistic. There were marches all over the country where you saw police officers wearing their uniforms, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder with other protesters. That's how it's supposed to be. You put on a uniform. And we understand the dangers. All of us understand the dangers of being a police officer in an incredibly violent country like this one. But even in that uniform, you are still a resident. You are still a citizen. You are still an American like all of the people that you swear to protect and serve. The uniform doesn't make you better than any of us. You are one of us. In fact, we should hold you in much higher esteem because you're a resident like us, you're a citizen like us, you're a human being just like us, but we put you at a higher level because we look to you to protect us and not to harm us. There should be more police officers that get angry and get outraged when there are egregious incidents of police brutality. Just like there should be more white people that get angry and get outraged when there's overt racism and discrimination against anybody. On today's program, that is what we are going to discuss, and I have some very interesting information. The Pew Research Center, which is one of my favorite data sources, they asked 3,000 plus Americans who gets discriminated against in this country, who faces discrimination, and how much, and how often. And I have, in my mind, ideas of who the most discriminated group is in America. Hint, hint, those of us that have a bunch of melanin. Well, when you ask Americans who they think gets the brunt of discrimination, it's insane. But also, once I go over the information and I share these statistics with you, it will better explain why African Americans cannot make more progress. Because here's the thing about Americans. Everybody thinks they get discriminated against. Somebody had to wait an extra 90 seconds for their coffee at Starbucks, and someone will say, oh, that's because they're discriminating against me because I've got red hair. Someone has a bad interaction with a server at a restaurant. You're just treating me like that because I'm a woman. Someone who is held to task when they are spewing conspiracy theories, that person will say, you're discriminating against me because I'm a Christian. Here I am thinking that African Americans are the absolute most discriminated against people in the country, where no one would even refute that. Well, come to find out, there is a lot of refutation to that. So we're going to talk about it today, and we do, in fact, hope you join us. 833-212-1017 is our telephone number. You can also text it. And then we have this technology thing as well. It's called the YouTubes. You can go to youtube.com Or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe. And you will be amongst like-minded folks who are sharing their thoughts on the program and the topics in real time. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
What are some of the things that we need to really focus on to get our fair share of these opportunities, i.e. access to capital?
You know, it's very important to always think about building a strong business plan, understanding the financial parameters around what you're trying to accomplish, building great networks and great relationships so you can have partnerships and building out your dream. And then finding a good financial partner like Old National to help really orchestrate your vision of the organization. And then, as you know, DT, you wouldn't be where you're at because you're phenomenal, doing great work. And then you have to really have to go to work. If you have that dream, you have that vision, the business plan, the financial piece, then you have to really work at it and keep building.
Learn more about the Old National Bank Small Business Empowerment Loan by visiting oldnational.com/small business or contact a small business banker at Old National Bank.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
And of course, there's a partisan bent to who faces discrimination or who Americans think faces discrimination. I think this is where we fall into a little bit of trouble because I think that African Americans' adherence to American politics, it's not bearing fruit like it should because of how hyper-partisan everything is. But Republicans don't think that African Americans face discrimination at the same level that black people actually do. And if you are the political party that is in control and in power, and they are right now, and you don't think that the group that has the history, the documented history, the storied history, the cultural history, the legal history, the de facto and de jure history of segregation, if you don't think that it really exists as a Republican, then you are not motivated to focus on it with a law, with a bill, with an executive order. I've listened to other perspectives on things because I want to know where other people's sentiments are on the issues that I hope we can agree on. Black people get discriminated against. I posted an Instagram video via the Hughes Views Instagram page. It's a black woman who did an experiment for 8 months on LinkedIn. And she was wondering why with her accomplishments, her education, and her resume, she was just finding these dead ends or there'd be an interview, there wouldn't be a follow-up, or she would get ignored altogether. And so what she did is she essentially catfished LinkedIn, and she changed her identity to something other than a black woman, and then it became abundantly clear. Her being black held her back from opportunities that she was, in fact, qualified for. And she tells the story of how incredibly heartbreaking it was. And I don't know if it's as simple as overt racism by businesses, corporations, and companies that don't hire black people. It's certainly some of that. But here's the thing, nobody ever is honest about how racist and how bigoted they actually are. Okay? You can have a company CEO that is as liberal and progressive as you can get. And when I say liberal and progressive, I mean like A white CEO who prefers to date intelligent, educated, articulate black women, where his pillow talk as a white man has been with this black woman who details our struggle in a way that only a black woman can after they have sex. Do you understand me? So he hears it. The CEO, imagine this fictional white guy who has heard the horror stories of the racism and the bigotry and the discrimination from a black woman. This is a CEO, totally mythical, that only dates black women. He's heard this from these black women his entire life. But he has a company. He owns a business, a big old business. He knows that there are employees in his company. Now, remember, the owner of this business, this company, it's fictional. It's not real, I don't think. Or I'm not referencing anything that I know to be true. But this CEO who genuinely loves and appreciates African Americans for our creativity, for what we can add to a workplace. Let's say he is legitimately friends with black people. Let's say he doesn't just like black women. He grew up with black people. And let's say he had black friends before he even knew that our racial identities keep us separate in the adult world. So one of those kind of white guys. He may not want to hire black people at his company. And let's say he's got a big company, 1,000 employees. And he might have a workforce that's 95% white. But this is weird, right? Because he is progressive on racial issues. We could say he doesn't have a racist bone in his body. Maybe he even grew up in a low-income neighborhood that was racially mixed. He grew up with and went to school with black kids and brown kids and Asian kids, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine this person. So his developmental environment as a kid was very racially diverse. So he grew up seeing human beings as human beings and not seeing them by their negative stereotypes first, okay? And he also has a company. He's got 1,000 employees in his company. 95% of his employees are white, and you have to wonder, well, why is that? Because he is progressive on racial issues. He loves black women. He loves black people. He's intentional in buying from black businesses, et cetera, et cetera. The reason why he may not hire black people is because he will not be able to stop or stifle the racism amongst his employees. That's why he may not want to hire black people, because of what he knows they will be subjected to if he hires them. We always seem to make a political statement, don't we, as black people, whenever we are lonely in a space. If you have 1,000 people in a company and 10 black ones, like, we're the resistance, we represent all black people all of the time, which is categorically unfair. But people see us that way. Everything that we do, especially if people are not familiar with how African Americans can be expressive. Now, we're expressive as a people, as a culture. We have some similarities, but also we're very much individuals as well. And it's exceptionally difficult if you are one of the few African Americans at a big company, especially with 1,000 other employees, because each of them have their own experiences and interactions with African American people. And so the CEO of this company might say, you know what, I don't even want to deal with the hassle and the headache, because statistically speaking, if you have 1,000 people at a company, a bunch of them are probably exceptionally racist. And you don't know how that's going to manifest in your business, in your company, if you are the CEO of this fictional business. And so they won't hire any black folks, because they know they're going to get sued. They know that there's going to be some racist remarks that are going to be made. And here's something else that happens. I think white folks take this for granted. They may feel a sense of comfort with African Americans because, if y'all see us every day, you think that we're cool. If we work together, or, you meet somebody at the water cooler every single day and you ask them how their weekend was. Sometimes white folks think like, oh, that's my friend. I talk to them every single day. And then they do this thing, which is, it's common. Probably happening somewhere right now. They'll tell a racist joke because they feel comfortable, because like, oh, I have this black person that I work with and I see him every day at the water cooler, and every Monday I'm intentional and I ask them about their family, and they have a dog, and I ask the black person that I work with about their dog, and the white person is thinking like, oh, I've got a rapport with them. I'm cool with them. They like me. Let me tell them this racist joke that I think is so funny. Do y'all have any idea how often that happens? And so if you're the black person, immediately you're angry. And now you have a whole bunch of stuff weighing on your shoulders. What do you do? Because remember, as the black person that meets this white person at the water cooler and they talk about each other's pets and they've got a fairly decent personal rapport, maybe they have some things in common on the job, you can go from having, an even-keeled, reasonable professional relationship with that white person to hating them in an instant. You now hate them. You don't excuse the joke, but here's the thing. In these corporate settings, you got to pretend to laugh because it's so uncomfortable. Let me take that back. Don't pretend to laugh. They need to see disdain on your face. And then they'll say something like, because they then become uncomfortable when you don't laugh. Well, what? You didn't think it was funny? I thought it was funny. We tell that joke at my house all the time and everybody laughs. Now you got a situation. So what do? Do you go to HR? Do you confront that person directly? Let me give you a word of caution. If you confront that person directly, they're going to say, why are you getting so angry and mad? And why are you getting so aggressive? And then immediately when the white person that told the racist joke, realizes they did something that caused harm and caused you to be offended, they all of a sudden will shirk back into, I'm scared. Please don't harm me, black person that's angry. And then they may go to HR on you. Ain't that crazy? And so I can understand why a white CEO who is racially progressive may not want to hire black people. Now, that shouldn't be the excuse, but they also know that CEO of that company does not have the power to eliminate or abolish the racist and stereotypical feelings of their 1,000 employees. And here's what's crazy. That company might be profitable. It might be profitable with 1,000 employees and 10 of them being black. It might be. And you would think that CEO might want to hire more African Americans, but they know the more that they hire, the more likely discrimination cases will become apparent. Let's take a break, come back, dig into the details of Republicans are less likely to say there's discrimination against black, Hispanic, Asian people than a year ago. And this is the political party that is in power, and they are less likely to say that we as black folks face discrimination, meaning they are less inclined to want to do something about it. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be back shortly.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Need to look your best for a special occasion? You need
the $100 hookup.
This incredible deal includes a marvelous suit, shirt, and tie, all for $100. Only at Nick Cavani's, home of the
$100 hookup.
And that isn't limited to some standard stock suit. You'll be pleased by the top quality and variety of fashion offered at Nick Cavani's. No matter the occasion, maybe you're just ready for a fresh, new stylish look. Get hooked up today at Nick Cavani's in Mayfair Mall and at nickcavanis.com.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
In life, our journey is not meant to be walked alone. As much as self-reliance and independence are celebrated, we need an inner circle, a group of trusted friends who uplift, challenge, and remind us of our purpose. Your inner circle is more than just companionship. It's your compass. These are the people who see your potential when self-doubt clouds your vision, who tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable, and who stand beside you when the weight of the world feels unbearable. The value of an inner circle is not just in the emotional support, but in accountability. They hold us to our highest standards, ensuring we don't settle for mediocrity. It's through this circle that we refine our thoughts, grow in character and courage to face life's battles. Today is no exception. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, energize you, and believe in your dreams as much as you do. They will then shape your growth, strengthen your resilience, and celebrate your victories. James Baldwin once said, "The place in which I will fit will not exist until I make it." Your inner circle is part of that place, a foundation for your growth, your success, and most importantly, belonging.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Large majorities of Americans say numerous groups in the United States face at least some kind of discrimination, including immigrants, transgender people, and members of different racial and religious groups. About 8 in 10, or 82%, say immigrants who are in the United States illegally experience a lot of, or at least some discrimination, including 57% who say they face a lot of discrimination, according to a new Pew Research Center survey. Here's what I'm trying to reconcile, and please tell me if I'm overthinking this, because when I read these stories and I look at the numbers, immediately I try and overanalyze this information to find where the truth actually is. So currently, right now, and in the Pew Research Center, they are a reputable source of information, statistics, data, and polling. I've been using them for many, many years. In fact, elected officials and other folks use the Pew Research Center as well because they are very unbiased and nonpartisan in the data that they collect. And they collect data from representative samples of Americans, right? So if our black population in this country is 15%, then 15% of the respondents are going to be black. If 51% of the people in America are white, then 51% of the respondents are going to be Caucasian. They do a religious affiliation. They make it as fair as they possibly can. So here's what I'm trying to reconcile. When you ask Americans about who is discriminated against a lot, so not just, who faces discrimination, but no, which group faces a lot? Immigrants, when you ask the American people that are in this country illegally, face more discrimination than African Americans. Does that sound accurate to you, or does that go along with your expectations? Because here I am thinking that there is no other group of people that faces discrimination on so many different levels than African Americans. We face discrimination when you might get followed at a store. That's discriminatory. There's an expectation that we're going to steal. You might be more likely to be followed by a police officer, pulled over by a police officer. You are less likely to get a second interview at a job. Even microaggressive things, like if you're a black person and you're minding your own business, you're walking down Capitol Drive, just enjoying the day, and you're walking west on Capitol Drive on the sidewalk, just minding your own business. Maybe you're out there counting butterflies. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not bothering nobody. You're walking west down the sidewalk on Capitol Drive, and then you see a white person also on the same sidewalk, and they happen to be walking east. And as they are approaching you, because they're walking east, you're walking west, and at some point, the two of you are going to walk past each other. The white person crosses the street. That's discriminatory, too. I've told you guys about this story of when I went to the Pfister Hotel. I was going up to Blue. It's that lounge on the 23rd floor of that beautiful historic hotel. In fact, that's where we held our Blue Tender event with Axe Housing back in January. And thank you to all of you that came out to that and got drunk. Some of y'all got real drunk, including Miss Shack. She got a little too drunk, but that's neither here nor there. But in a previous visit to the Pfister Hotel, I was in the lobby area and I was waiting for the elevator. And there was how would I describe her? An older white woman, maybe in her, late 60s, early 70s, big poofy permed hair, black dress on, just an average-looking older white lady, going up to Blue, I'm assuming, or maybe going up to her hotel room. And we're both waiting for the elevator. We didn't say anything to each other. I didn't say hi. She didn't say hi. I really wasn't even thinking about her. I'm just waiting on the elevator. Well, the elevator gets to the first floor where she and I are waiting. The door opens. I get into the elevator. And you know how when you get into an elevator, you do that thing, that thing that you do where you put your arm out to block the elevator doors so that other people can come into the elevator so they don't get crushed by the elevator doors. I don't know where we learned that reflex from. Whenever you walk into an elevator, first you gotta hold the door. It's like, I'll sacrifice my arm to make sure all of you can get into the elevator without the doors closing. It's almost like this instinct that we have. And so I did that for the lady. I walked into the elevator. First, I stuck my arm out to make sure that I was sacrificing my arm so she could walk into the elevator. And you know what this woman did? She sat there. She just stood there. Here I am holding the elevator door for her to come into the elevator. Now, mind you, it's just me and her. I never forgot this. And it was 10 years ago if it was a day. She never even broke eye contact with me. That's how I knew she was for real about how she felt about me, an African-American stranger waiting on the elevator just like she was. I walk into the elevator first. I stick my arm out to make sure the elevator doors don't close on her. She never broke eye contact with me, and she did not come into the elevator. And so immediately I recognized that. I pulled my arm back in, and I went up to the 23rd floor. I want you to just think about that for a second. While that is a pretty benign situation, Sherwin, it's not that big of a deal. This woman wouldn't even get into an elevator with me in a hotel that is full of people. Like, I'm going to murder you? Like, what was she thinking that her safety was so in jeopardy, or she felt so incredibly uncomfortable riding in an elevator with someone in a hotel? It's stuff like that. And we as black folks, we face it every single day. Now, here's what's tough. Sometimes when we get treated poorly, it's very ambiguous. We don't know if we're being treated poorly because we are black, or the person that is dishing out the poor treatment is just an idiot. It's hard. But usually our default setting, because when you have so many of those situations, those little microaggressive situations, and people crossing the street when they see you coming and people not getting into the elevator with you, you just have a default setting that when you get treated poorly by another non-black person, you just assume it's racism. About 8 in 10 or 82% say immigrants who are in the United States illegally experience a lot or some discrimination, including 57% who say they face a lot of discrimination, according to a Pew Research Center survey of U.S. adults. 36% of people say that African Americans face a lot of discrimination, but immigrants face 57%. I suppose I could see that because even black people are discriminatory toward immigrants. But I was under the impression that we held that crown. Maybe it's okay we're passing that crown off to a new group of people. Thought that Americans would assume that we as black folks faced the highest amounts of discrimination, but according to the American people, when you ask them and expect them to be honest, they say that immigrants face 20% more discrimination than we do. That is the highest share for any group among 20 included in the survey. Still, there is a widespread belief that many other societal groups are also discriminated against. 77% of the people who are transgender face at least some discrimination. I can see that. Oh yeah, I can totally see that. Am I allowed to talk about transgender people? Like, can we discuss them, or is that not cool? Look, I don't know, because I talk about everything else. I talk about ethnicity and religion, and I talk about culture. I talk about race quite a bit, and I talk about how all those different factors interplay in American society. Can I not talk about transgender people? Will it be offensive if I discuss them?
We'll talk about them in what context?
In the same context I may talk about anybody else. Are they more sensitive than other people?
I don't think that they're more sensitive, but I think that it's a touchy situation. No pun intended.
I don't know what's acceptable nowadays, you know? I think the days of cancel culture are over, and political correctness has taken a back seat with the re-election of Donald Trump. And I say that because that white woman, Shiloh Hendricks, that called the little black autistic child that was apparently rummaging through her 18-month-old's diaper bag. You guys remember that story? Well, they started a crowdfunding fundraiser for this woman because she's being threatened, because there was a video that was taken of her calling this 5 or 6-year-old black child the N-word. If you can raise, last time I checked, she had about $760,000. She raised $750,000 for her family's protection because she was being threatened by calling a black child the N-word. Let's just drill down on that for a second. There was a period of time where if you got caught publicly calling a black child or a black anything the N-word, you get canceled. You'd lose your job. You would be ostracized. It is now a moneymaker. And I say that political correctness is out the window because you can get financially rewarded by calling a black child the N-word, where there was a period of time, however brief in American history, where that was such an offensive and egregious thing that you would be condemned by everybody. Now, if you get caught saying the N-word on a camera, you can raise $750,000. And if invested right, this woman may not ever have to work full-time another day in her life because she got caught saying the N-word. And so I look at things like that, and I'm like, okay, well, I should be able to say whatever the hell I want in the context of furthering discussion and debate. But when it comes to the transgender people, I don't. What's today? Today's Thursday. Tuesday, I was out in the market hall chatting with Benjamin and Carrie. And the band is talking, and then Carrie and I had this vantage point, had this viewpoint of, it was a transgender, I don't know. Why am I saying it? They, right? I got that part right. They were built like a woman. It was a woman. They had breasts and curves. It was a woman. And Carrie and I both saw them. But they had a full beard. You know? And I feel bad even mentioning it. That's not, I can talk about it, right? Like, I didn't know. And Carrie looked at me and I looked at Carrie, and we're listening to Benjamin talk, but Carrie and I were very distracted because you don't see that every day. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not discriminating against that person. But it was just not, it isn't common to see that. Am I rude to bring that up? Because I've never, like I have a beard. I got a beard. You see my beard? They had a beard too. Their beard.
I know who you're talking about. She works out there and
don't.
I mean,
no, don't.
No. I know who you're talking about.
First of all, you already said she, so I think you messed up because we don't know if she's a she. But don't expose them like that because they could be listening.
I'm not exposing, but I get what you're saying.
You almost told people where they work.
I'm not exposing them. But okay,
this is what's gonna get me in trouble. Oh, they work at the blah 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 blah. I go there and you do order food from there. Oh, now I'm giving it away too. I gotta take a break.
See, it wasn't me, it was you. But I know what you're talking about.
77% say people who are transgender face at least some kind of discrimination. But by me talking about it, I'm not being discriminatory. It's not something you see every day. You know? Like, what's something else you don't see every day? You don't see 1951 Packard station wagons driving down Wisconsin Avenue every day. Right? I'm just pointing out something you don't see every day. Clearly, people have 1951 Packard station wagons. You just don't see them a lot. That's all. Maybe they were just like a classic vehicle that you look at and you're like, oh, you don't see those every single day. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be back. We're going to continue talking about the different groups that say they are discriminated against and the Americans that feel the same way about such groups. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Start jamming in the morning and get your daily drop of juice.
Juice gets you hydrated and started for your day. And that's what we plan to do from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Every single morning, we're going to be keeping you in the mix, talking about everything you care about all before 9 a.m.
So wipe that crust out your eyes and get ready for jamming with juice.
Turning your mornings into your favorite part of the day.
Get that stank breath out of here. Brush your teeth.
It's it, bro. Like, what? Catch Jammin' with Juice
from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Milwaukee.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
This is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth for Axe Housing. Are you tired of paying a landlord rent when you should be paying yourself? Do you want to leave a financial legacy, or would you like to have a stable place to call home? Well, it's time for you to start on the path to owning your own home instead of renting. You can work with an Axe Housing coach, and they will teach you how home ownership can be a reality. Axe Housing has helped over 4,000 families in our neighborhoods. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent. As an average Axe family who has been helped pays around $900 per month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing coaches can assist you right now. An Axe Housing coach will help you create and stick to a plan and a budget and get you ready for home ownership. If you're not dreaming of home ownership by now, you certainly should be. Let's make it a reality with Axe Housing. Get started on a virtual orientation by clicking on axehousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially right now get in the way of your very bright future of becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
One of the gayest songs probably on the planet.
Macho Man.
Yeah, classic though. Anyways, I want to read Kawanda's comment. Hang on, where's Kawanda's comment? She said, here we go. Kawanda said via YouTube, just took care of one a few weeks ago. And when I say he transitioned completely to female. Well, Kawanda, you can't say he transitioned to female. You got to say she.
They, them.
No.
Those are their pronouns. They, them.
No, it's not, Rick.
It is.
No, see, this is where we're messing up. This is not even really what I need to be talking about. I want to talk about all these other groups that were surveyed that say that who is discriminated against in America. They, them is a pronoun that some people choose. Some people that you would think is a they, them, their pronouns are actually he, him, or she, her. So you can't just assume because somebody's transgender man or transgender woman, that their pronouns are they, them. They, them is specific. Some people are like, so I'm cisgender and heterosexual. And I've met people that are also cisgender. Cisgender means I look like a man, I live like a man, and heterosexual means I like the opposite sex. I like women folk. Okay,
this is too much.
No, we got to know this stuff though, because these
folks
are in our society, and we have to understand what their issues are. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna need all of them to vote for Democrats and to vote Donald Trump out of office. So I got to have a level of understanding of the people. But I've met cisgender heterosexual men and women whose pronouns are they them. That's the part that I don't get, because I referred to this man like, hey man, hey dude. He was like, no. I was like, what? Because I was greeting this person. I was like, hey there. Hey man, hey dude, or however I greet another man that I don't know. And he was like, no, my pronouns are they them. I just stopped. And at that point, I was scared to engage in conversation because I don't know what's offensive. Now, let me use this same mode of thinking in a different context. There are some white people that do not have a lot of rapport with black people. They haven't talked with a lot of black people, and they don't know what is and is not offensive to us, because it depends on the day of the week and the direction of the wind. Black folks can be offended by everything and nothing at the same time. And I can see why some white people clam up or they don't want to engage with us, because they don't want to say something that they didn't know was discriminatory or condescending or stereotypical. And I've seen that before. I've seen some white folks just stop all conversation when the black people come in because they don't want to say something that they didn't know was offensive. And so to wrap this part up, I totally wasted this segment talking about this, but I want to foster understanding though too. Where do we go get our answers? Like so if you're a white person and you have a bunch of questions for black people, what is and isn't acceptable, what does and does not offend us, how much leeway and latitude do they actually have? Now, I know that as black folks, if we know, love, and trust a white person, we give them more leeway and more latitude than we give the white stranger. But like, where do white folks go if they have questions? Here's what I'm not going to do, because I tried this before, and every time I do it, it's a miserable disaster. Every so often, every few years, I decide to do a segment or two. Hey, black people, do you have questions of white people, like things you always wanted to know and were too afraid to ask? It was an unmitigated disaster. It was some of the most racist stuff that I had ever heard. It was some of the most horrible stereotypes that we have of white people. And I was like, I can't ever do this again. There was one time where I allowed white people to call in and ask questions of black people, things they always wanted the answers to but were too afraid to ask. That was equally as racist. So you clearly can't use talk radio to find these answers, but there needs to be a, dare I say, safe space in which I have a conversation with someone whose gender may not match their birth certificate, to just see, how do you even approach folks? I have recently come to find out that it's not rude to ask someone their pronouns. They actually appreciate that. I'm too scared to do it, but if you see a person where you're not sure if they're a he, him, or she, her, or they, them, it is legitimate and acceptable to ask them, hey, hi, what are your pronouns? That's not offensive. And I think it's hard for me to conceptualize that, because me as a cisgender heterosexual man, someone might ask me what my pronouns are, and I would get offended by that, because I would expect them to know and to assume that my pronouns are he, him, but that's them being polite and not assuming, because just like I met a cisgender man whose pronouns were they, them, you don't know if Sherwin Hughes goes by they, them. So it's appropriate and acceptable to ask. Now, here's something that I don't do, and a lot of people are doing this. I think it's a generational thing. And you know your email signatures? People have an email signature. So if you send an email, it's like, your name and what you do, your job title, maybe your office phone number, whatever, which will be at the bottom of your outgoing emails. Some people put their pronouns in their email signatures. I don't do that, but I suppose I understand why people do, so there's clarity for anyone reading that email from that person that, they specified their pronouns in that email. And if transgender people report via this survey that they're heavily discriminated against, And if there are people in America who are not transgender that also report that transgender people are discriminated against heavily, well, how do we come to some kind of resolution? Because I don't want anybody to be discriminated against. I really don't. And Americans need to understand that if discrimination exists anywhere, it's going to exist everywhere. And that's a real hard thing for us to conceptualize, because we as Americans always think there's some group that we can hate, that we can ostracize, that we can dehumanize, and that we can make fun of. And right now it's immigrants. It's immigrants more than African Americans. But if discrimination exists anywhere, it's going to exist everywhere. So we have to extinguish it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 1017 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices, Milwaukee Black Talk.
Coming with straight truth.
So how did we get where we are now? How did we get where we are now in relation to affirmative action that people many times really don't understand what the outcome was for affirmative action? We don't understand what the outcome was for DEI, but yet we scream and praise it, but we don't really understand it.
Listen to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, they find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with your credit specialist and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Keep your business safe, secure, and spotless with the Omega Security Guard and Cleaning Team. Proudly located in Milwaukee and female-owned, Omega delivers professional security and tailored cleaning services to meet your needs. Whether it's event security or a custom cleaning plan, their dedicated team goes above and beyond to exceed your expectations. Because at Omega, they're not just your service provider, they're your partner in peace of mind. Contact Omega Security Guard today or online at omegasecurityguard.com. Omega Security Guard and Cleaning, protecting what matters most.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Truth Nation, stand up and tap in. This is 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. During Hour 1, we were talking about this Pew Research Center survey that looks at all the different groups and I don't know, ethnicities and races and religious affiliations and ethnicities that are discriminated against. And Americans will report, well, absolutely transgenders and immigrants are discriminated against, but also self-reported situations of discrimination where African Americans self-report they've been discriminated against. Jewish people, I'm going to get to some of the religious folks as well. Here's what I'm going to say about the Jewish people. Don't listen. Don't be disrespectful to the Jewish people. Let me tell you something about the Jewish people, the lovely chosen ones that they are. I find out every day that a new person's Jewish because you can't always look at them and tell. I can look at a black person and say, oh yeah, you're one of us. Like Rick, when I look at you, I'm not confused about whether you might be Mexican. You know, it's real obvious.
I will to a certain extent, because you can go to DR and if somebody that look just like us don't speak a lick of English.
Okay. When I look at you, Rick, and I hear you talk and the fact that you know next to zero Spanish, I'm not confused that you might be Asian. Okay?
There you go.
Okay? But with the Jewish people, there's so many different kinds. You know, there's many different flavors of them. And you can be a convert, too. So Whoopi Goldberg is a Jewish person. If you say something negative about a Jewish person...
I always wonder that because her last name is very Jewish.
Jewish, yeah. But so you can say something negative about Jewish people and Whoopi will be like, that's anti-Semitic, or however she sounds. But then you also can say something negative and stereotypical about a black woman and she's like, that's racist and that's gender bias too. But she chose to be Jewish. So I can't look and tell. You got black Israelites. I don't know what wow.
I see your point.
But with Jewish people, because they report being discriminated against, but a lot of times we don't even know. Unless you're wearing like a yarmulke and a Star of David, I don't know that you're Jewish. And if you are wearing a yarmulke and a Star of David, I shout out to you.
So you're basically saying that you could tell a person who's Jewish but not Jewish because you could tell by the way that they look, but you can't tell because of people like Whoopi Goldberg. Am I right or wrong?
I don't know what that was. They have to be wearing something symbolic. Well, let me take that back. Because a Star of David, the 6-pointed star, right? That's a Jewish symbol. But it also means GD.
Oh, my.
No, it does. If I see somebody walking down the street and they got a Star of David necklace on, I'm like, are you a gangster disciple or do you believe in the Shabbat? How am I supposed to know? And it's probably rude to ask. Let's talk to Eastside Corey.
Hey.
Hi there.
A little bird told me you needed some help with the gender situation as it is as we speak.
Yeah, but you're a man though, so your gender is not in question, and your pronouns are probably he, him. I'm assuming, right?
I don't play that gender game. That's too much information anyway. How am I supposed to figure that out? First thing you do when you meet somebody new is, or you catch them they catch you staring at them. Just say, hi, my name is Sherwin. What's yours?
Oh, that's
Start
what
with
I
the
do.
person's name.
Of course.
Identify them as a person before you go into the gender. Now, if they got that name that's like Pat or a fancy way of saying Corey, which could be a girl or boy.
Yeah.
And remember, their gender is different than what they're sexually attracted to. We keep getting that mixed up. What's confusing to me is when a transgender person becomes trans, a male gay man turns into a full woman, and she's attracted to men.
Well, then,
what if she's still attracted to women? If she's attracted to women, does that make him her a lesbian?
Hold on.
You see what I'm saying?
A gay man that transitions to a woman that maintains their attraction to men still remains gay. Like, to me, drag queens are transgender because they're gay men that dress up as women. But
wouldn't that make them a cross-dresser?
Don't see, we used to call them cross-dressers because some men would only get the boob job and not get the ding-a-ling cut off because they wanted to keep that. Because medically, we're not there. They're talking about giving hormones. But children, young teenagers go through a period what was was the word we used to call Michael Jackson and Prince. They were not cross-dressed. We used to have a word for it back in the 90s.
Transvestite.
Where it became, no, not that severe. Just someone who was gender, has, okay.
You're gay and you're confused, and this is your community. And
it is confusing.
Is this unfair to you, Eastside Corey? Because we put all the LGBTQ plus transgender together, and is that fair to you as a gay man?
That's too much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too much because when do we stop? We need to stop adding on, and it's okay to differentiate. But I want to know if this survey actually has numbers as to tell us what percentage of a percentage are real transgender people. I have a feeling it's very, very low.
Probably. I don't think it goes into that level of detail. 77% say people who are transgender face at least some discrimination. So that's asking non-transgender people. 77% of non-transgender people say that transgender people face discrimination, probably because they are the ones that are discriminating against transgenders, because that's probably how they know, because either they or they know somebody that discriminates against transgenders. And here's what's crazy. Damn near everybody discriminates against transgender people because we don't know a lot about it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's right. And it's complicated. And every person's an individual. And should be handled by their first name first.
Absolutely.
And then the gender thing, they might be in the middle of transitioning, and, don't try and reach out a label. But I do say when I get frustrated with the gender thing, I said, just wear a name tag, okay? And if you change it up and you want me to pronounce it correctly, just put it on your chest every day, because I can't read your mind. I can't read your look, okay? But if you look good, I'll tell you that. But if you got blue hair, I'll watch my words. That's what that's giving.
I don't want anyone to think that I don't treat people as people, but sometimes I'll see a person that obviously presents as a male, and I might be referring to them in conversation like, oh, this guy over here, and that's where I get in trouble, because I will assume, and I've introduced myself, hey, my name is Charles, and I'm Sherwin, and I say, oh, well, my guy Charles over here, and Charles will say, no, I'm a they, them.
That's giving people power they haven't earned yet. Okay, most transgender people that are so frustrated that you see on the YouTube and have their own complaint site, they're got too much power, and it's gone to their heads, and they're ruining it for everybody else because they're becoming discriminatory. They're becoming the thing that they hate. Okay, take Dave Chappelle for instance. He apologized 3 times about that. He even told a real story about a transgender friend he made in comedy, and they still wouldn't forgive him. And so he had to move on.
But aren't people allowed their own dignity? Like, if I want to be respected as a black man, like, you need to respect me as a black person. If someone who is transgender demands, we can't say that because someone wants to be respected for who they are, that they have too much power, because they said the same thing about black folks. And that's when they try and diminish us by saying, oh, you're not black, you're a human. They try and discount our identity. My identity is I'm a black man in America. And so we as black people don't get to say and get to discount the identity of a trans person. If they want to be called this or referred to as this, or they, them, or he, her, we have to respect that, just like we want somebody to respect us being black. That's all I'm trying to say here.
And that lady in the elevator, all you have to do is look her since she looked in your eyes. First of all, don't look in her eyes, okay? And then just when you have the door open, say, ma'am, can I hit the floor for you? And then she has to answer, unless she's deaf.
She answered with her eyes. We never broke eye contact, and I think that is why that situation was so memorable.
That's what made her nervous.
Just stared at each other. Right. Nervous people look away, Eastside Court. Nervous people look down. Nervous people don't want to confront, something that they're afraid of. Like, she was trying to stare me down. She's just like, N-word, I'm not getting in this elevator with you. And I let the elevator door close. But I was waiting on her ass to come up to blue, but she didn't go up to blue. I was waiting on her to come up to the lounge, but she didn't show.
She might have had $1 million in her purse, and she had to get to the room, and, hubby was waiting for her. She was running late, and she's like, oh, Lord, here's this big old black man. Who is this?
How crazy to think that I could rob somebody in an elevator, and that person thinks that, like, I would get away with robbing them. But whatever. It is what it is. I appreciate your call, Eastside.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Calling. Yikes. 74% say Muslims in the U.S. face a lot of or some discrimination, while a similar share at 72% say Jews face at least a lot or some discrimination. So Muslims and Jews, unless someone is literally speaking Arabic, how do you even know? And here's how ignorant some Americans were. So after September 11th, there was a lot of targeted hate toward who we thought were Muslims. But America always does this. When we went to war with Japan in World War II, Japanese Americans, they were targeted, they were harmed, they had their houses broken into, they were snatched up out of their homes and put in these internment camps, etc. The problem with Americans is we don't even know, or we used to not know, what a Muslim actually is, because there were people that were Hindu and people that were Sikhs. They were being targeted because Americans thought that they were Muslims, and they clearly are not. Roughly a third say there's a lot of discrimination against those in each of these groups, both Muslims and Jews. Nearly 3/4 of Americans say black people at 74% and Hispanic people at 72% face at least some discrimination. About 2/3 at 66% say Asian people face a lot of discrimination as well. While there is widespread perception that immigrants who are in the United States illegally face discrimination, 65% say immigrants who are legally in the country also face a lot or some bias. I totally agree with that. I don't know your immigration status. I know how you look. I know how you dress. I know you may have a very heavy accent and your English isn't very good. And I sometimes, and I got to be better at this, I'm having this conversation so that we can be better. I can assume because someone's English is shoddy or non-existent, they have a heavy Hispanic, Spanish accent, like, oh, you're from Mexico or somewhere in Central America. For some reason, I never assumed that people are from South America. I always assume, like, oh, you're Mexican or from Central America. They could be Puerto Rican and just as much an American citizen as me, with every right of an American citizen. They pay federal taxes, they pay into Social Security, they pay into Medicare, and they can vote in the United States. And they can also know zero English, so it's really, really hard to tell. I don't know what we can do, and I wish I could find some kind of common ground and some kind of clarity of how we can reduce the discrimination that we perpetuate and also that we receive, but there aren't places where we can have these discussions. Really, it should take place in schools, because if kids can get their questions answered early, then they can just grow up and proceed in life knowing how to be more respectful of folks that are different. But for some reason, we don't do that, because it's grown folks, old folks, middle-aged folks that are extremely discriminatory. And this is an ignorance that we could have extinguished a long time ago. Now, I grew up with many different people, many different races of people. I had Asians. I grew up with an Iranian girl. Her name was Ryla Malik. She's a very nice lady. Well, girl, we were in 5th grade. And she wore the gear. And she'd be out there on the playground with the rest of us with her gear on, playing tetherball and foursquare, just wearing her gear. I went to school with Puerto Ricans and Mexicans and Asians, and to me it was normal. But as you progress and get older and get out into the world, you realize that there are people that hate those same Asians, that hate those same Iranians, that hate those same Puerto Ricans and Mexicans. And to me, it was a weird reckoning, because I had personal experiences with people of different races and different cultures. And at the end of the day, here's the conclusion that you come to, and it's a very simple one. We're all just people. We're all people. And we mostly want the same things out of life. We want a good slice of pizza, right? We want to get good sleep at night, okay? And we want to get laid sometimes. That's it. That's Jewish, Gentile, Muslim, Christian. We want good pizza, good sleep, and a good polishing every now and again. That's it. And if we could just see our common ground, we could eliminate all of these isms.
Let him cook.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
This is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth for Axe Housing. Are you tired of paying a landlord rent when you should be paying yourself? Do you want to leave a financial legacy, or would you like to have a stable place to call home? Well, it's time for you to start on the path to owning your own home instead of renting. You can work with an Axe Housing coach, and they will teach you how home ownership can be a reality. Axe Housing has helped over 4,000 families in our neighborhoods. Many times your mortgage will be a lot less than what you're paying for rent. As an average Axe family who has been helped pays around $900 per month. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing coaches can assist you right now. An Axe Housing coach will help you create and stick to a plan and a budget and get you ready for home ownership. If you're not dreaming of home ownership by now, you certainly should be. Let's make it a reality with Axe Housing. Get started on a virtual orientation by clicking on axehousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially right now get in the way of your very bright future of becoming a homeowner. Axe coaches are here to help.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Everybody wants to get off, Rick. You got to get the poison out. You got to get it out every now and again. You know what I mean? You can't let it build up. It's not good for your prostate. You got to let it out. Ask Joe Biden. He's got prostate cancer. So you got no, seriously. You're as man, gentlemen. Listen to me. This is for your health. You got to release, gentlemen, at least really like once a day if you can.
What are we releasing?
The poison. The fluids. Yeah. You gotta drop it out. You gotta get rid of it. You gotta empty out. You gotta empty the dishwasher is what I call it. You know what I mean? You can't let the dishes stay in. You gotta empty them. You need to have an empty dishwasher. Ladies, you're questioning your man's faithfulness. Don't let him leave the house with a full dishwasher. Empty his dishwasher for him. You know what? You empty his dishwasher for him. You unload his pistol. He may not want to go out at all. He might want to stay home and watch movies and cuddle. Just saying. While there is a widespread perception that immigrants who are in the United States illegally face discrimination, 65% say immigrants who are here legally in the country face a lot or at least some bias. 70% say people who are gay or lesbian encounter at least some discrimination. We can unlearn our biases. For those of you that are old enough to remember previous decades, especially those in the 20th century, we were very mean to gay people. Very mean. And it was acceptable. We were so mean to them. Now, look how far the gays have come. They've come so far. You know who really loves the gays? More than the gays? Straight white women. I've always just been fascinated by how far straight white women take pride. Like, there needs to be some kind of analysis or study on why straight white women take pride in the Pride Festival, and they go insane. They wear more rainbow stuff, have their breasts out with their painted nipples, and dancing and singing, and a lot of straight white women. I think some of it is this. It makes sense in a world where women are sexually assaulted and harassed and discriminated against, and I've got some details on the discrimination that women face via this Pew Research Center survey. We'll get to that in a second. But doesn't it make sense that a woman who knows that her threats, some of her most severe threats, come from men, wouldn't it provide some comfort? This is me trying to intellectually analyze why so many women, it's more white women that pride themselves on having their gay friend. Oh, they prop their gay friend up more than they do their black friend. Oh, these straight white women love having their gay male friend, their gay male bestie, because they get to be in the presence of a man who still in some cases exudes the masculinity that protects women, but she doesn't have to worry about being sexually assaulted by him. So she's with a man and protected by a man. Even if he's gay, he still may have some protective instincts over women. Gay men can be very masculine. A lot of them are. I worked with a dude for a whole year and didn't know he was gay. Had no clue. Yeah, sure, when we're going to go down to the sports bar, we're going to get some wings. Sure, when you ever go down to that cigar lounge. Like, this is what he was. Ooh. And I found out, not here, this was years ago.
At WNOV?
No.
Oh.
Rick, that's not the only. Do you two out with, like, naming stuff? You almost named a person that's transgender that works here. You got to. No, I've had a lot of jobs. I'm 50 years old. I worked with someone didn't know they were gay until one of our colleagues in that office was like, oh, Sherwin, are you going to so-and-so's birthday party? I said, well, I don't know. Well, our coworker's going to be there with his husband. I said, huh? He said, oh, no, yeah, our coworker, blank, is going to be there with his husband. I said, blank got a husband. I said, oh, yeah, you didn't know that? That changed my whole, like, he was a man's man. And big dude, too. Like, I wouldn't want to fight him. Huh? Yeah, sure, you see the Packers last night? Man, oh. Gay as a Sunday afternoon. I had no idea. It. What you laughing at, man? Ain't nobody. Hold on, you need to relax. Ain't nobody.
Do you know how to raise them? Am I on? Hello. Good morning. Sorry.
What are you doing over there? What are you doing?
No, you got me tripping off this morning. All right. So it comes down to this issue with discrimination with people's defense mechanisms and habits, really, because look at the culture of United States. That once you know how to hurt somebody, once you have an idea of somebody's trauma, it's almost instinct to zero in on that and exploit that. I was at a restaurant. It was a black-owned restaurant once.
What was the name of the restaurant? Man, where was it? What did you order? Was the food good? How was the service?
I hit the buffet up at Daddy's, and there was a white couple in the corner enjoying their meal, having a good time, not bothering anybody. But then a heavy-set black woman walked in. I'm not trying to blame whitey. I'm not trying to bash gay, so I'm going to keep it in the family right now. And people have this habit when they go out to eat. People say things under their breath, kind of harass and heckle you and everything. That's a bad way to absorb your nutrients. It's almost like conditioning you to be docile in a sense. And, people are putting up with this. So I literally asked her, like, hey, this is kind of a place for us, by us. Like, could you not bring that negativity here? Basically, would you leave me alone and let me enjoy my meal?
Wait, hold on. I'm so confused. Who was saying something to you? Somebody was saying something to you.
Yes, just heckling me, harassing me. Like, you go to a restaurant and people just kind of heckle people.
Why? Were you eating your food, I'm assuming, not bothering nobody, and just a random person started heckling you?
Yeah, she walked in, I guess, with her daughter or something. And she was like, she was kind of homely and heavy set. So I don't know, what she was getting off at her or something. Her, because people's insecurities make them do weird things.
And she just started messing with you. What were you doing?
I was literally finishing up my meal.
And they just picked you, the heavy-set black woman that was homely, and her daughter just started messing with you.
No, her daughter actually looked pretty annoyed because, she recognized. I asked her, like, hey, I want to enjoy my meal. This is a place for us, by us. We don't need to be harassing her. We need to bring, like, bad behavior in that we learn from other places into a place where we need to feel safe and comfortable.
You also said there was a white couple in the same restaurant at Daddy's Soul Food on 27th Street enjoying their meal. What's the relevance of the white couple also being in the restaurant to the story?
Well, people get to, we get a lot bad. We've adopted and emulated and imitated a lot of bad behavior from ignorant people, and since people are kind of have this control of the country or this patriarchal.
Yeah, there was white. Hold on, Israel. One thing at a time, because I want what you say to make sense to people that are listening. And if it doesn't make sense to me, it's not going to make sense to them. There was a white couple. How does the white couple that was also in the restaurant play into the story, or were you just setting the scene?
Setting the scene and telling, racism is an issue with people getting harassed and heckled, especially by arrogant white women. But they're just having a good time, enjoying their meal, not bothering anybody. But
so the white people weren't bothering you. You were being bothered by a heavy-set, homely black lady.
Yes.
What was she saying to you?
Things about your restraint, something about stride, testing my patience, insulting me, and stuff like that.
Hold on now. Out of nowhere, she just came up.
Out of nowhere.
You didn't know this woman. This woman didn't know you.
Happen.
You know you're famous because you on a whole bunch of YouTube videos, right? You know she might have recognized you.
This was a while ago.
Oh, it was before the incident?
I don't even yeah, it was. It was before the incident.
Did you ask her why she was bothering you, why she chose you to ostracize and to pick on?
Oh, I know exactly why, because I'm a black man.
And she was a black man. I'm sorry. And she was a black woman, and she just decided she was going to mess with Israel that day.
Something strange,
how did you handle it? We got to land this plane here, dude. How did you handle that random discrimination or whatever, the heckling you got from the heavyset, homely black woman? How did you resolve the situation?
Well, after I asked her to, leave me alone and stop bothering me, whatever, she wouldn't stop. So, I proceeded to leave, and then I made a motion like I was going to kick the chair, her leg of her chair. So, bent under her immense weight, and she would fall. But I didn't kick her chair leg, and then she got upset because, I made a fat joke. These defense mechanisms, you stand up to a bully, and sometimes bullies fight back, but most of the time, bullies are just smoke and mirrors. And she got upset, almost started crying, and then started begging for the police to be called. And we know how they feel about black men, right?
I gotta go. Okay? I gotta go.
All right.
All right, then. All right.
So we got to fall back from these defense mechanisms because
you made a fat joke and you threatened to kick her chair. The story doesn't make any sense. I want it to make sense, but I think that I'm chasing something that doesn't exist. I want this to make sense, but just a random black woman that was homely and heavyset just started messing with you at Daddy's Soul Food. There's a white couple in the corner enjoying their meal. They're not messing with nobody, but the big ugly black lady and her daughter started messing with you, and the daughter was annoyed, and then at some point the big homely black lady sat down, and then you were going to kick her chair and you made a fat joke. That's what happened at Daddy's Soul Food.
I didn't make a fat joke, but me kicking the chair leg was the fat joke.
All right. Well, I'm glad that resolved itself without nobody going to prison.
But we get over these defense mechanisms and start seeing people as people, because people are tripping off just off the internet right now. It's strange how you watch human interaction and behavior and these reactions, but you don't know how to treat people in real life.
Yeah, human behavior is strange. You're right. It is. Thank you for calling. I do appreciate your contribution.
Really rude and sensitive.
Okay. All right.
Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Arrivederci. Okay. What happened there? I tried to get some clarity. I didn't. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 on your FM dial, or 101.7 The Truth on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just know, at Brewery Credit Union, they find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances, yes to rebuilding credit, yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with your credit specialist and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
Suicide on a team is devastating and a real risk for veterans. If you or someone you know is struggling, taking action for mental health is a brave step. Reach out now at reachoutwis.org for local resources available to you and your loved ones.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
It's 101.7 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. There's no better time to upgrade your windows and doors than right now, because you can get up to 6 years of 0% financing at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Yes, no interest for up to 72 months, and the full Pella experience is always included. That means the Pella team is with you from start to finish. They don't disappear after the work is done. Set up your free in-home consultation. You commit to nothing at this point. A Pella design expert will listen to your vision and then present the different colors, sizes, and customizations needed to make that vision a reality. It can feel overwhelming to consider what feels like limitless possibilities, but Pella's design team can help narrow those options down for you to create that dream upgrade. Hurry! Get 0% financing for up to 6 years. Certain restrictions apply, and the deal ends May 31st, 2025. So visit PellaWI.com today.
Experience some of the most cherished popular music of all time when the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra presents Let's Groove Tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound, May 23rd through the 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Byron Stripling will lead the MSO and an exciting trio of vocalists that include Broadway superstar Chester Gregory, Ashley J., and Brick Liam in a musical sojourn of hits made famous by legendary talents such as Lou Rawls, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and The Temptations. Songs like My Girl, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and I'm Coming Out will come alive in fun and stylish arrangements that are sure to have you dancing and humming along in your seat. Let's Groove Tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound runs May 23rd through the 25th only. So lock up your tickets right now by calling the box office at 414-291-7605 or visit mso.org.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
From 9 to noon, whole city lock in. Sherwin speak facts, let the real talk begin. Mind like a weapon, every word cut clean. Your host's favorite host, the mic God supreme. No one match the brain, no one match the vibe. Milwaukee truth teller, yeah, we feel that pride. When the people need sense, he the one they call. Sherwin Hughes on the line, that's power, y'all. He the voice of the people, heart of the town. Every take heavy, he ain't messing around. No fluff, no gimmicks, no tap dance show. He dropped 10 years game in a 4-minute flow. Got the city on his mind and the truth on his tongue. He break it all down like he wrote it when it begun. You hear the knowledge, man, it's deeper than degrees. He got councilmen, judges, and mayors on their knees. Asking for the wisdom that they can't obtain. Sherwin's brain got more range than a freight train. No script, just soul and electrified. He don't chase clout, he the one that I'm known. Whole city
from 9 to noon.
Sherwin speak facts, let the
one and
real
only
talk begin. Mind like
Sherwin Hughes. Some Hughes views. Somebody said that my intro sound arrogant. I mean, that's the point, isn't it? You gotta promote yourself. I didn't write that, you guys. That's artificial intelligence. So for the past couple of weeks, I've really been exploring AI, but in a real specific way when it comes to making music and the way that it can create full songs, harmonies, intros, outros, a chorus, a hook with just a series of prompts. Like, you give AI an idea and it creates something that we very well may have never been able to create. Well, at least in not such a short period of time. You guys know about Blue Mist, which is my jazz album, which is taking off. It's a worldwide sensation. created entirely with artificial intelligence. This is the wave of the future, ladies and gentlemen, and I want our ability to harness technology to be the great equalizer, because I think we, especially as black people who are discriminated against, I'm going to get back to our Pew Research Center survey in a minute, I think we're expecting the people that discriminate against us and then have caused so much pain for us because of their discrimination against us, we want them to fix it. And I know for an absolute fact that white supremacy and white nationalism is a white person's problem. We can't, as black people, extinguish it. They have to see it as a problem. They have to see it as a barrier. They have to see it as their ignorance that harms not just the people that they aim it at, but it also harms themselves. I even have the amount of money that discrimination against black people costs this country every single year, and it is staggering. And it's not our fault or our responsibility to fix it. Now, we can help. We know that all racism, really all isms, are based on ignorance. I do my level best to try and extinguish some of that ignorance, not just amongst the races, but amongst the cultures. And answer what somebody said earlier, I think, in the chat. Jewish is an ethnicity. They said, oh, no, Sherwin, Jewish is not an ethnicity, it's a religion. No, because it's got cultural elements. There's languages and traditions. There's ancestry. It fits the definition of an ethnicity. So, and there's anti-Semitism as well. In fact, a Jewish couple just got killed in Washington, D.C., and the guy that killed them was yelling some pro-Palestinian slogans. All that stuff has to stop. No one should lose their life because one person or a group deems them less than human. That's counterproductive. Now, I try to remain optimistic here, and I think that when we combine our efforts and our energies, because different people from different backgrounds have different ways of solving problems. They also have different coping mechanisms to deal with trouble. They have different solutions because everyone's developmental environment is different. You maybe grew up in a rural area. Somebody grew up in the middle of the city. There's another person that had to be very resourceful because they didn't grow up with a whole bunch of money. And then there's people that did grow up with a whole bunch of money that can tell people that are less financially well off how to invest their money, how to save their money. Imagine if we all just got over our isms and combined our forces, how powerful we will be. We are at a point right now where the United States is no longer a world leader. And look what we have descended into because of these divisions that exist. Donald Trump is the savior of the white people that are being discriminated against by everybody from the blacks to the Muslims to the illegal immigrants that are here. And it has impacted our politics as a nation. And it has hurt our image in the world because of all of this discrimination. We need people to work together. I will work with anybody except a Bears fan. I'm worried about the Bears because the Pope is from Chicago. Did you guys know that the Pope is a Chicagoan? The Pope gonna have deep dish pizza sauce on his Pope clothes. A Pope riding around in a Pope mobile eating a Chicago-style hot dog. Full disclosure, Chicago-style hot dogs are delicious. If you ask me, this is the one thing that Chicago gets right, and they don't get a lot right. They even do Lake Michigan wrong. We do Lake Michigan better than Chicago. They don't deserve to be on Lake Michigan. Chicago needs to be landlocked somewhere. However, I will give them credit. They make a good dog. They do. I agree. Ketchup does not belong on a hot dog. It doesn't. Pickles, tomatoes, relish, hot peppers, and a little bit of mustard. That's a hot dog. With the poppy seed bun, that's the only thing I'm gonna give Chicago credit for. Everything else, they don't do very good. But I'll work with anybody because I want answers to our complex problems. And I think part of it is doing this work. I hear all the problems and I see all the problems and I talk about the problems and I try and analyze them. There might be political problems or social problems or problems with gender. We even had one of our gays, we have many gays that call, one of our gays called in and he even gave his perspective on the complicated things when it comes to the pronouns and all of the things. Try and solve these problems. And I realize the different groups of people have different ways to reach solutions. What if we just tried it? Why don't we do this? It's probably too late for 2025. This year is just already a wash and it's only May. What if we say in 2026, all of us, we're going to put aside our stereotypes, our different isms, our bigotry, and we just approach the world where every person is a person that is worthy of dignity and respect. Gay, straight, transgender, black, white, native, Asian, Jewish, Gentile, Muslim, evangelical. What if we just approached one another with dignity and respect? We might as well try it because we've done everything else. What if the Kia boys stopped stealing Kias? What if we were much more sympathetic to those who came to this country to seek a better life? They didn't come here to break any laws. What if we just were fair and decent and kind to people as a default setting? What if baby mamas and baby daddies could call a universal truth? That will never happen, though. I think black people and white people will find their common ground before baby mamas and baby daddies agree on holidays and custody and child support. Did any of you guys go to the child support event at the King Center on Tuesday? Just curious if you guys went. The angriest person I think I ever met in my entire life is a woman that pays child support for her 2 kids. She's even more angry and disgruntled than a man that pays child support for one. Can we just give it a shot? Can we try? How long would it last? What if we all made the same universal New Year's resolution at the end of this year? And I have a feeling that 2025 is going to be a doozy. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening, a lot of terrible things politically. I don't know how far Trump is going to go with these executive orders. I'm waiting for the war in Ukraine to really spill over into other parts of Europe. A lot of stuff is going to happen this year. What if we just realize that we're just sick of all the stuff? All the things that have been created because of all the divisions amongst people. What if we just gave it a shot? Are you with me? Except Chicagoans and baby mamas and baby daddies, can we just for a moment, because it doesn't get us anywhere, and the United States has lost its status and its stature. We should be proud of the fact that people want to come to this country. We should be proud of that fact, that you can come here and make stuff happen that I don't think you can do really anywhere else in the world. There are opportunities that are here, and I still believe in this thing I'm about to say, even though probably I shouldn't. If you are relentless in how hard you work for a goal, how much time you dedicate to your passion, you're going to be successful. Where you don't let anything or anyone deter you. If you have something that you just are so incredibly passionate about, it burns in your soul. If you follow that dream and don't let anybody else take you off of your path, I think you can be successful in this country. If you stay dedicated to something, that thing that keeps you up at night, that thing that you obsess about, and I don't know what it is. It could be knitting sweaters. It could be photography. It could be building bridges out of Legos. I don't know, whatever it is. You can be successful if you just stay focused on that thing. I think America exemplifies that. I never thought that 90% of the stuff that I do professionally, I never thought in a million years. But I found what I was passionate about, and I just pursued it relentlessly. And I didn't let anybody deter me from my path. And now I have artificial intelligence songs that say my name. I would like for us to get to that point because I was made a series of promises growing up. American kids that grew up in a certain particular time, there was a promise that was made to all of us. We could do and be whatever we want. In fact, adults used to ask us all the time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you literally could say anything because that was possible. I don't know if we ask kids what they want to be when they grow up anymore. In fact, if we ask them, I don't think we would like what they say. We have diminished a lot of hope because of how negative and how incredibly pessimistic we have become as a country. And no, I'm not blaming Trump. He certainly isn't helping, but he's the ugly side of us. He's the part of America that we don't want to talk about. He's the part that we want to keep buried under the rug. But eventually that thing that you don't want to talk about, the thing you want to keep buried under the rug, it will surface, and it did. So we have to take him and these moments that we are living through with him as very, very real, because I think he does represent a part of America. He won the election. I don't think he cheated. I don't think there was anything nefarious. He won all the battleground states. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. We need to meet this moment for what it is. This is a part of America that exists. As much as you want to deny it, as much as you want to, call him all sorts of terrible names, he represents this country. We should be ashamed of that. Even people that voted for him are ashamed of some of the things that he says. Now, once we get over this shame, hopefully, we can learn a very valuable lesson. It will be worth it if we become a better country after this. And it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, but it will be worth it if we vow to never repeat these current sins that we are committing right now. And all of us are involved in this. In one way or another, we've been complicit. It'll be worth it if we can be better on the other side. I'll let you think about that. Now I'm going to take a break. Then we're going to come back, and we're all going to love each other a lot. Except for people from Chicago and then the baby mamas and the baby daddies, because I just don't think that you guys are ever going to be able to get your lives together. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Come in with straight truth.
I wonder how many of these kids that's running around here, if they tested them for lead, look up lead crisis in different townships and look at the behavior and then look at what's going on in Milwaukee and match it up. Do your little research. Go get your thumbs. Instead of getting in the comments and arguing with folks, go look up the side effects of a lead poison environment, then watch the news.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Victory Garden Initiative is an 1.5-acre urban farm that sits right in the middle of the Black community on Richards and Concordia. I don't know if you know that Harambe is a food desert. So within its borders, there are no major grocery stores. So people rely on things like dollar store, corner stores, liquor stores to buy food, which is all unhealthy. Everything we grow, and we grow everything, tomatoes to potatoes to carrots to corn to onions, and so on. And everything we grow is free to the community. It started in 2009. They wanted to build a sustainable food production system that was healthy and sustainable. And what that meant was giving people the resources to grow their own food and the skills to make sure that those attempts were successful.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Keep your business safe, secure, and spotless with the Omega Security Guard and Cleaning Team. Proudly located in Milwaukee and female-owned, Omega delivers professional security and tailored cleaning services to meet your needs. Whether it's event security or a custom cleaning plan, their dedicated team goes above and beyond to exceed your expectations. Because at Omega, they're not just your service provider, they're your partner in peace of mind. Contact Omega Security Guard today or online at OmegaSecurityGuard.com. Omega Security Guard and Cleaning, protecting what matters most.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious accident? It's free. Yes, free, as in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. There's never a fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All right, here's the big one here. Women and men. Nearly 2/3 of adults, 64%, say women face at least some discrimination, with far fewer saying the same about men. That is not fair. Men are totally discriminated against. We're just not supposed to talk about it. Aren't men unfairly judged? I think we're judged very harshly. I think there's a lot of stereotypes about men, especially heterosexual, cisgender men. If you are a masculine man, and I don't even know what the hell the agreed upon definition of masculinity even is, because if you ask a woman what masculinity is, it's something that is perfect for her, that protects her, that looks out for her, that makes her better and whatever. But then if you ask a man what masculinity is, it is something that is very protective of us against other men. It's very interesting. Men, we're judged as dogs, aren't we? That's not fair. A woman can say very terrible things about us, and other women are likely to believe it. That's very discriminatory. Men are, in fact, stereotyped. Now, I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for us men, and let me let you in on a little secret. I've never been a woman before, and I think, all things considered, I don't want to be. I'm curious, though, as to how the world interacts with women, because, we hear these stories, and the horrible stories sometimes about women are treated so unfairly and they're discriminated against, and then, they get catcalled and they get objectified. But then it's also kind of confusing, because sometimes, depending upon who's doing the catcalling, sometimes they like it, but sometimes they don't. They wonder where all the good men are at, and then when a man approaches a woman and wants to be nice and wants to maybe take her out and introduce himself, then he's considered a creep. It's too much. But I'm just curious as to how women interact with the world. But I wouldn't want to be a woman, though. Too dangerous. Doesn't pay enough. And ladies, I'm sure there are tremendous advantages to being a woman. I mean, you guys get to incubate life. Isn't that a beautiful thing? That's a hell of an advantage that women have over men, and it's wonderful that you guys have that privilege universally. But I don't know, being a man is just, so we don't live as long. There are expectations that are put on us as men that sometimes are difficult to meet, but I think all things considered, it's just, in general, it's safer to be a man. I don't have to worry about my safety and security like a woman does. The example I give is if I was at a birthday party many years ago on Water Street. I didn't stay long. And I'm walking back to my car, and I had to walk through an alley to get to my vehicle. And I heard people walking behind me, footsteps behind me. And I didn't even think anything of it. I was annoyed that I didn't know where I parked my vehicle. A woman hears those exact same footsteps that I ignored because I just didn't care. There are some women that the last thing they ever hear are those footsteps walking behind them. The privilege of not having to always be worried about my safety is one that I think us men take for granted. Gentlemen, I'm sure you have been on dates before with the fairer sex. And again, I'm talking about heterosexual, cisgender men. Maybe you met a girl on the internet. Maybe you met her at the Water Street Brewery. Maybe you met her, I don't know, on the street. And you exchange phone numbers with her, you talk to her a little bit, and you agree to go out with her. And you agree at a location to meet at. Gentlemen, when we are going into that situation where we are going to hang out with a woman for the first time, going on a first date, our safety is rarely a consideration, but hers is. Now, she's taking a considerable risk in hanging out with you one-on-one. Now, granted, you're in public, but that still doesn't matter Because a lot of the most horrible and atrocious incidents that happen against women happened by a guy that she's probably on a date with. That alone, not having to worry about my safety the way that women do, it's got to be exhausting. Because, ladies, I have a real serious question for you. Knowing how much you are discriminated against and how you are treated, yes, men are discriminated against too, but we are discriminated against differently. And I don't think the discrimination that men face, unless it's like healthcare related, because we do die sooner, somebody needs to look into that. But ladies, I don't know how do you trust men at all? Like, how do you know what man is okay? You don't know. Just like when you're looking at a man's pants, you don't know if he grows or shows. You know, it's a mystery. So it's just so perplexing to me how women can proceed through life and decide which men to trust. Because, ladies, I'm sure once you get to a certain age, there have been guys that you thought were wonderful and they were great, and they showed you and they proved to you. They went above and beyond to show you how nice they were and kind and giving and selfless, all of the things. And then they turn out to be a total jerk face. But you trusted this guy. Fellas, I suppose the same for us, but we rarely have to worry about our physical safety. I think we've all been fooled by people of the opposite sex, but when women are fooled, the consequences can be way more dire. Take a break, come back, and it looks like, we're going to chat with Al at the top of hour 3. Oh, goody. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back shortly.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Is this Eastside Double R speaking? Hey, what's happening then? Tell the family I said what's happening then.
Hey, y'all hear him?
What would you do with $5,000?
Man, I'm about to give back to the hood, you know. Might do a little block party or something like that, but we're going shopping first.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris are joined by the legendary Chris Mad Dog Russo. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
The Empowerment Small Business Loan Program, we're talking about up to $5 million, which for small business owners, we need that. That's like payroll, that's resources. So can you just let us know what is the program and why is this lending program so important to Old National Bank?
Years ago, our CEO, Jim Ryan, this program is his brainchild. He was working with Roland Shelton, who you know, Denise, out of Evansville, and they identified that African-American business owners, Hispanic business owners, Native American business owners, as well as women business owners had a difficult time in obtaining financing from the traditional credit partners. And so we went out, created a program, launched it last year in 2023. And so far last year, we have helped over 100 successful minority and women-owned businesses with about $25 million in loans. We've already started this year with almost $8 million in approvals, again, geared toward minority business owners and women business owners that normally had difficulties in obtaining traditional credit finance.
Carrie, where's Tori Lowe and Dr. Ken at? I'm trying to knock these commercials out.
How am I supposed to know, Sherwin?
Well, I'm about to do their parts because my impressions are on point anyway. This is Dr. Ken Harris from Truth in the Afternoon, and I want you to download the Truth app in the Google Play Store and Apple Store so you can never miss my show or any of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Really, Kyle?
Sherwin, you are crazy.
Sherwin, your impression of me is horrible. Move. Give me my mic. I guess I'll just repeat what Sherwin said. Go to the Google Play Store or Apple Store to download the 1017 The Truth app today so you can take the home of Milwaukee Black Talk with you wherever you are.
Can't listen live? Download the new 1017 The Truth app on your smartphone today to catch up on all your favorite shows. Search 1017 The Truth on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store so you don't miss out on any of the action. Milwaukee's Black Talk lives here. You are listening to 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'm hoping that we're coming to some kind of understanding and, deepening our knowledge when it comes to different groups that may face discrimination. Why don't we just stop it? Just treat people like you need them. You never know. The person you're discriminating against might be an organ donor. You know what I mean? You might need an elbow or something. That Mexican person from Mexico that's here illegally, they might have an elbow that fits yours. And look at you, discriminated against the person that has your elbow.
But if they're not legally supposed to be here, can you technically take an illegal elbow?
You raise a valid point. If there's someone who is not here legally and they happen to be a donor match, will the surgery proceed? So if they get deported, the recipient would die. You know what? I hope there haven't been any situations where someone who wasn't here legally was a match for someone, like an organ transplant, and then they got deported, and then the recipient, maybe the recipient just has, because you don't want to take the risk of the recipient who needs the organ going to the home country of the person who was deported because they may not have the same quality of health care. You got to think about that for a second. What if we want more people to come here from other countries so we as Americans can use their spare parts? We need more organ donation. You guys know that, right? Every so often, we'll have people on our different radio shows come, from different healthcare organizations like, we always need blood donations. Make sure you guys give blood. And we also need organ donations, too. Maybe that would be something to consider, to have people come over here from other countries. So in case we need them, what else? Kidneys, a liver, you might need a lung. My back hurts sometimes. I might need a new back. Wouldn't that be something if you could get a back transplant and I got a white guy's back? Let's talk my ass would be flat. Like, Sherwin, we found a back donor for you. I'm like, oh, good. His name is Winston Winthorpe III. Let's talk to Al. Do you think that men get discriminated against?
Of course, especially black men. Black men are the number one on the chopping block to be discriminate. Number one, you're black.
Well, let's just look at the male part of it. So men doesn't matter because racial discrimination is different. I'm talking about just on gender. Are men, Hispanic men, white men, black men, Asian men, as men, do you think that we are discriminated against?
Maybe sometimes. It depends.
You don't think that men are sometimes treated unfairly because we're men? Like we're expected to be all of these things, and we can't just be looked at as people?
Well, first of all, you are a man, so all those characteristics, you already have that. You just have to believe in yourself. That's all. You already have that. Nobody got to tell you that. You already have that.
All right.
Moving forward.
All right, let's move forward.
What I was going to say to the women, and I know y'all be in certain situations, I would ask all women get a nice butcher knife.
Oh, good God, Al.
And soak it for about 3 weeks. Once that knife get rusty, you will be the prime deliverer of gangrene. Please season all your blades with the lemon juice. Because see, if it cuts, it's going to sting the wound even deeper. or you can use some organic garlic powder.
Al,
or if you owe,
why are you telling women to have rusty butcher knives and organic garlic powder and lemon? Why are we telling women to be violent?
No, this is self-preservation, and I speak protection of all women.
Then just get it done. Not a rusty butcher knife with lemon juice and organic garlic powder.
Well, see, the reason why I say that, because, see, if that woman takes that butcher knife and go between his legs, and she if the knife is rusty, she's automatically going to get gangrene. Or if she's old school with it, she will take and do her number two. She will put that knife in her dookie and let it sit. So when she takes that knife across his face, he's ultimately going to get an infection. See, your goal is not to be a victim, but create one. And when you want to create victims, because they know they're very petty. And one thing we have to understand, from birth, a lot of racists know they ain't never been about sugar, honey, iced tea. Because when they look in the mirror, all they see is a piece of sugar, honey, iced tea. And no matter how many flies, blacks, and ninjas are around because they want to be me first, they will always beat everybody to the GD watermelon. That's all I needed to share, because a lot of them are very petty. They don't like competition. And our women need to protect themselves, because we have seen where two white boys assaulted a black woman, or the man having a field day using her as a punching bag. So when he swing that punch and she swing that butcher knife and she hit that artery, he'll shoot blood 6 feet like he's having an ejaculation. If he come running to her and she takes that knife and go across his face, he'll look like one of them happy face. The goal is self-preservation of our black women. So if they're going to be a victim, it's their power to create a victim. That's all I want to share. Always park your car with the nose face out. So if you got to get out, you can punch it, not have to go in reverse. And anywhere you go, always look for potential weapons you can use in any room. So when they get froggy, you can jump. Chili, chili, bang, bang. And when they sitting in the hospital with all them tools sticking out their mouth, they can remember that last call was their final call. And you can go home and rest that off. Have a great day. It's about self-preservation of self. Create a victim so you don't have to be a victim. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
I'm so glad that we have a long weekend. Monday is Memorial Day, and I'm not coming to work. So I got one more day. I have one more day left this week. Listen to me. Y'all are not going to kill me. You understand that? You are not going to kill me with this ridiculous stuff that y'all say is real. You eating that damn soul food restaurant and fat ugly lady started messing with you. That didn't even happen. There was no fat lady. There was no white people in the corner of the restaurant, Israel. And Al, you need this weekend too, I think. You need to rest a little bit, Al. Everybody needs to take a refresher. We're going to take this weekend that's coming up, a well-deserved weekend for all of us. We're gonna remember stuff and remember the people that died because it's Memorial Day. We're going to do some remembering. And then on Tuesday, when we reconvene here at 9 a.m., we're going to be different. We're all going to be different people. We're going to be better. We're going to be nicer. We're going to be more understanding, and we're going to tackle the issues of the day. That's what we're going to do. Starting on Tuesday, get it all out this weekend. Whatever you got to do, get it out, because when we come back on Tuesday, we are going to proceed in a very professional manner. But no, I ain't going to let y'all ain't going to kill me. Not. Well, like, what do I say to that? What do I say to that? Okay. Can I take a commercial break? I'm going to take a break because I think I need to. How did we get here? I just was curious about women. Like, how do you guys know what man is safe or not. Like, you have to be concerned about your well-being when you're with men. And then Al said, if you make a victim, you won't be a victim. No, violence is not the answer. When are we going to learn? Violence is not the answer. Someone please repeat after me. Rick, Zach, will you guys turn the microphone on in there, please? I think I need to say this. I need to give this disclaimer. Okay, repeat after me, please. Rick, you first. Violence is not the answer. Go ahead.
Violence is not the answer.
Didn't sound very convincing. Zach, your turn. Let's see if you can say it a little bit better, a little bit more convincing.
I kill him dead. I kill him dead if he hurts you.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Here at the new 101.7 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's Black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating Black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 101.7 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices. Milwaukee, Black Talk.
Experience some of the most cherished popular music of all time when the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra presents Let's Groove Tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound, May 23rd through the 25th at the Bradley Symphony Center. Byron Stripling will lead the MSO and an exciting trio of vocalists that include Broadway superstar Chester Gregory, Ashley J., and Brick Liam in a musical sojourn of hits made famous by legendary talents such as Lou Rawls, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and The Temptations. Songs like My Girl, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and I'm Coming Out will come alive in fun and stylish arrangements that are sure to have you dancing and humming along in your seat. Let's Groove Tonight, Motown and the Philly Sound runs May 23rd through the 25th only. So lock up your tickets right now by calling the box office at 414-291-7605 or visit mso.org.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
As a fellow military veteran, I relied on my team to get through very difficult missions. We had each other's back and supported our teammates through thick and thin. If you find yourself struggling to make it another day or know someone who is, reach out. Support is at reachoutwis.org.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Yup, she was a fairy. 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 With a fatty on my daddy. He want grab it, he want smack it, he want have it on my daddy. This smacking, she was a fairy. With a fatty on my daddy.
I don't understand how this song has become so popular. Rick, you clearly know. You're a DJ in the clubs. This song comes on and people go insane.
Even grown people dance to it when I play it.
What am I missing? Am I old? Is that what it is because I'm an old person that I don't.
I'm old too, to a certain extent.
Yeah, she was a fairy. Yeah.
Look at her doing the dance.
Yeah.
Both
she was
Rick
a fairy.
and Zach are doing.
She was a fairy with a fatty.
Okay, that's Truth Nation. Have you guys heard that song before? It's very popular, and what's crazy is that she gets a lot of hate. Milwaukee
She's from Milwaukee too, by the way.
She's very much from Milwaukee. Listen, sounding like that, there's no other place on the planet. The hip hop sound of Milwaukee it's more than unique, but it's actually like you've seen big name artists that are emulating Milwaukee hip hop and doing the dances on stage. It's something else. I just wish we were known for something more sophisticated. It's just very.
We got Giannis.
No, I hope so. If it's up to Dr. Ken, no, we ain't.
Look, don't look. That's a touchy subject. Don't do that.
Yeah, I didn't know how touchy of a subject that it was. I also think that people that are unfamiliar with 1017 The Truth, if they heard Dr. Ken's segment, and it was heard by a lot of people, if they heard his thoughts and his feelings about Giannis, and if you judge our radio station based on that, I would say just give us a listen. You know, what I can't stand, we talked about this a couple of days ago. There was a thread going around on Facebook of people just hating on 1017 The Truth, just bashing us. But it's people that don't even listen. It's like, how can you form that much of a significant opinion? Like people, I hate that radio shit. Have you ever listened? Well, no. And I remember the one that you got into it with, Zach, I asked her, I was like, look, there's different shows, different hosts. We got 11 hours worth of programming. Give it a listen. She was like, no, I'm not going to listen based upon other people's comments. That's insane to me. Like, are we really operating like that? I would be embarrassed, literally be embarrassed to say publicly, oh, well, I listened to a whole bunch of other people and their opinion, and I'm just going to adopt their own opinion. If that's the case, you are ripe for manipulation. If you don't have your own experience with something, you're just going to base your opinion on anything based upon the thoughts of somebody else. I'm so anti that. Here's something that I don't do. I went out to eat last night to arguably the best Italian restaurant ever, La Cucenza. I hope I'm saying it right. It's on 60th and North Avenue. Oh, my goodness, so good. In fact, we couldn't get a reservation for a week, and even then, they only had one reservation left, and it was at 8 o'clock the next week. It was very tough to get into. And it's a real complicated menu, and everything is in Italian, but it's really super authentic. And the person that I was dining with, one of my best friends in the whole world, she does this thing, and it annoys me, but I forgive her because she's my friend. When you ask the server, what do you like? What do you recommend? I hate when people do that because I'll never do that. I'll never ask a server what they recommend or what they like, because I may have, and chances are I probably do, have totally different taste than that server. Some people like weird flavors, weird textures with their food. I am very, very specific, and so the likelihood that I could just take the recommendation from somebody, and what if you take somebody's recommendation? Do you guys know people like that? Heaven forbid you're one of those people. You go to a restaurant, well, what do you order, server or waiter? Chances are the person that works at the restaurant probably doesn't even like the food there. That's a very real thing, too. There's some servers that know better than to eat the food at the restaurant they work at. It's an interesting concept, but I find it to be true more often than not. Because what if you take someone's suggestion on what to order, and what if you hate it? Do you blame them? No, look at what's on the menu, figure out what ingredients are like. Maybe, ask questions about something and how it's prepared, but just to order your food, because food is very personal to me. I'm not going to just ask somebody else, somebody that I don't know, somebody I may not have anything in common with, well, what do you like to eat? Because some of y'all eat real weird stuff. Anyways, where's my survey at? Women and men, nearly 2/3 of adults at 64% say women face at least some discrimination, with far fewer, 34%, saying the same about men. Religious groups, a 57% majority of adults say people who are religious are subject to a lot or some discrimination. Just a third say atheists in the United States face some bias. I think atheists face more discrimination because if you are deemed as godless, they'll call you evil. of some of the worst atrocities that I have seen with my own eyes or maybe on TV or represented in media have been by people who are religiously affiliated. And I don't know if you get worse than the sex abuse scandal of Catholic priests. I don't know if you get worse than the Ku Klux Klan using a burning cross as a representation of who they are. They illuminate a cross. They are an evangelical Christian white supremacist domestic terrorism organization, and they are religious. In fact, this is my personal experience. Your situations and your experiences may vary. Some of the worst people I've ever met my entire life cling tighter to the cross than they do to human decency. I have never in my life said, I'm an atheist. I'm going to kick everybody's ass in here. I'm an atheist. I'm going to shoot this place up. No, it's like in the name of Allah is why they bomb stuff and blow stuff up. Or in the name of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ hates gay people, and I'm going to go mass shoot a gay nightclub. If you can't have fun in a gay nightclub, I don't know if you can have fun anywhere. It's closed now, but it's called This Is It. And the first time I went to This Is It, it was New Year's Day 2020. I was hanging out with a bunch of friends, and we didn't go out on New Year's Eve, but we decided to hang out and have dinner New Year's Day evening. So it was January 1st in the evening. And the only two things that were open on New Year's Day evening was Elsa's on Jefferson Street and a place called This Is It. So it was myself, very good friend of mine who's also very prominent in Milwaukee. I'm not going to mention their name because I keep the identities of my people shielded. No, Zach, not that person. I wasn't hanging out with him yet. But actually, I saw him. He was here yesterday at 3rd Street Market Hall, the person Zach was referring to. So it was myself, my guy who's a prominent dude in the city of Milwaukee, and 3 women. And we're at Elsa's hanging out. We're yucking it up, having some cocktails, having some drinks. Now, we did not go out on New Year's Eve on purpose. I rarely go out on New Year's Eve because it's amateur night and people don't know how to act and they're insane. And people that don't normally go out, they act a fool on New Year's Eve. And so, yuck, it's disgusting to me. Stay home on New Year's Eve. It's too dangerous. So we went out on New Year's Day evening. And so we were at Elsa's and we had our food and had a couple of drinks, whatever. And we weren't ready to go home. We wanted to continue bringing in the new year together. And the only other place that was open is a place called This Is It. Now, This Is It has a nickname, but I can't say the nickname on the air because it is a banned word. Those of you that are familiar with This Is It before it closed, you know what the nickname of that place is. And so the women that we were with, me and my guy were with, they're like, and they're calling about the nickname. And me and him are like, wait, there's a bar called blank? And they're like, oh my God, yes, you guys have never been there before? No! Had we known there was a bar with that name, we'd go there all the time. And they're like, well, it's not what you think it is. And at this point, he and I are like, we don't care. If it's got that name, we want to go to it. And they all looked at each other like, okay. This Is It is closed now. But it had been open since like the 60s. And it's hidden right in plain sight. It's right on Jefferson and Mason Street. But you can walk right past it and not know it was there. I've walked past that place. In fact, there used to be one of my favorite Italian restaurants, Luis's Trattoria, right there on the corner of Jefferson and Mason, right across the street from where Taylor's is. There used to be an Italian restaurant there for years. This Is It is directly next door to that. Walk past it a million times because it's discreet, you know. And now I come to understand why it was discreet. So remember, it's New Year's Day evening. Jefferson Street is a ghost town. The only people that are on Jefferson Street are people that are going into or walking out of Elsa's. There's nobody anywhere. The Sophie had nothing going on. Room 7 or whatever that place is across, I think it was Plum back then, that was all closed. Everything on Jefferson Street was closed. It was a ghost town. It was quiet. We walked into This Is It, and it was packed wall to wall. People are jumping up and down and dancing, and they had a drag show going on at the same time. I thought I walked into, it's almost like, you ever see these movies where people get transported, where like you're laying in your bed and then boom, you're in New York City in the middle of Times Square. That's what it felt like. It was the biggest, gayest extravaganza I had ever seen in my entire life. And myself and my friend, my guy friend was like, what on God's green earth is this? But the women that we were with had been there 1,000,001 times, because that's when I come to find out that straight women love going to gay clubs because they can have as much fun as their heart's content, and they can grab any guy and dance with him and not have to worry about being sexually assaulted. But it was just an atmosphere of fun. And I know what some of you are saying. Sherwin, I wouldn't ever go into a gay club. Yeah, because some of y'all are closeted. If you know you like women, you can't inundate me with gay and make me gay curious. I like women. It's very simple. I'm proud of the fact that I like women, which means I have no shade toward those that don't. But it wasn't just gay men. There are all sorts of lesbian fellas in there. I was like, hey, gentlemen, because the lesbians we have a lot in common with, because in fact, I've got a very, very good lesbian friend, love her to death. And she'd be like, hey, Sherwin, hey, you should go holler at her. I'm like, well, she might be straight. I don't know. I might give it a shot. You know, I'm known for turning straight women out. I'm like, go ahead, player. Ain't nothing wrong with like a lesbian, a dude, not a dude, a woman lesbian that presents as a man. They're fun because it's like hanging out with a homeboy, but they know women really, really good. So yeah, we had a grand old time, and this is it. Just drag queens all over the place. I think they had like a trapeze. Somebody was swinging back and forth. It was just makeup and glitter and shirtless black men handing out shots. Wasn't expecting that on my New Year's Day evening. But it's closed now, unfortunately. Now, I've never been to La Cage. I've heard many things about La Cage. Some of the things that I've heard about La Cage scare me to no end. I know that there was a group of, here's what's crazy, straight black men that were pooling their money together as investors to buy La Cage, which I thought was fascinating. But apparently it's a very popular place. I've not been there before. Where else have I been? Oh, I got one for you. So La Cage is on like 2nd and National. There's another bar. I don't know how I didn't know. Well, there's a bar that's right next to La Cage. It's called Floyd. Okay? A friend of mine was like, oh, Sherwin, girl, beautiful woman. I'd follow her anywhere. Sherwin, have you ever been to Floyd before? I was like, no. She's like, oh, I love hanging out at Floyd. Let's go to Floyd. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, cool. Well, I didn't know, because the Walker's Point area is it's
the gay district.
Yeah, it's gay. I don't know why I didn't put 2 and 2 together where
then
Floyd
you have
means
Hamburger Mary, you have Dick's, you have
where?
you have Floyd.
DIX. D.I.D.I.X.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you have Floyd, which is like a gay bar for older men. And then it's one more, I believe. I know this because I'm a DJ, and I DJ at a bar over there called Revival, which is not a gay bar. It's a Hispanic bar.
It can be Hispanic and gay. The Hispanics are gay.
It's not. It's not gay.
All right, that's fine. Where who works? Oh, that's where she works at. All right. So I don't know why I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I went into Fluid, and they named it Fluid because it's a place that's gender fluid. So earlier in our conversation today, I was talking about a guy that I met there who was friends with the woman that I was with. And she introduced me to him. And his name was like Robert or Billy, or he had a man's name. And we're all just sitting around chatting, me and my friend and him and his friend, just a dude. And I'm in conversation with this guy, and I was like, oh, yeah, and this guy over here, Ben, whatever his name was, I referenced him. He's like, wait, stop it. I was like, huh? I am not a guy. I am a they, them. This is a normal look, and I don't want to say that people that have different pronouns are not normal, but he was just a white dude wearing a T-shirt, jeans, and a backwards baseball cap, but he was a they, them. That right there messed me up a little bit. But at the end of the day, we're just people. All right? Everybody relax. I don't know why anybody would want to shoot up a gay bar. It's nothing but fun and glitter. And a lot of safety for heterosexual women. You guys know that? The straight women, they love to go to the gay bars because they can have all the fun in the world. You know what? Fellas, if you really think about it, but you'd have to be really secure in your masculinity. And most men are not. Most men are not. If you went to a gay bar by yourself as a straight man, most people, the women would assume that you're probably gay. Right? Think about, follow me for a second. I'm going somewhere. So you're a straight man. You go to a gay. Now, the men are going to hit on you as well, which is something that is a new experience for a heterosexual cisgender man getting hit on by a man. Because you got to think of, yeah, you're not interested, whatever. But think about how many times women get hit on by men they're not interested in. And we don't, as men, don't often know what it's like to get constantly hit on by someone that we're not interested in. Once you, as a straight, heterosexual, cisgender man, get hit on by men repeatedly, then you begin to understand how women may feel when they get hit on repeatedly by guys that they are not interested in. But hear me out on this. You're a straight guy, and you go to a gay bar. Yeah, you're going to get hit on by men. If you don't get hit on by men, you should actually be more concerned, because that means you're gross. But the women, the straight women that are in there are probably going to assume that you're gay too. And the way straight women feel comfortable flirting with men that they know or they believe aren't sexually attracted to them is the stuff of legends. So what if, I'm not telling you to do this, but if you did, you're a straight, heterosexual, cisgender man, and you go to a gay bar, a gay nightclub, and there's a bachelorette party. Watch out for those, because those are dangerous. And then a woman comes up to you assuming that you're gay, and you can say something like, I wonder what it's like to be with a woman. I wonder, I don't know, could I ever be changed back? I wonder, because you know what's crazy? There are women that like projects. They want to be able to change a man. You know what kind of a trophy a woman would put on her mantle if she could go and brag to her friends and everybody she knows, I brought a gay man back, not knowing he was straight the whole time.
It reminds me of that movie Boat Trip with Cuba Gooding Jr.
Did he do that trick? He pretended to be gay and then
yes,
straight?
He did.
And then afterwards, after she takes you home and you're laying in bed smoking your cigarette afterwards, that's when you tell her, like, yeah, I'm straight. Been straight the whole time. Peace. And you walk out. No, not a good, all right. I'm scared to read what the YouTube comments are saying. But I've just seen how free-spirited straight women are when they're in gay clubs, and they can harass men all they want and grab them and dance with them and kiss them and do all sorts of stuff. It's almost like they treat gay men, they objectify gay men in a way that us men wish that we could objectify women, and it's crazy.
It's a proven fact that women have more fun with gay men.
You should see women at strip clubs, male strip clubs, that go insane. They're able to do things that will get you beat up and arrested. If you, as a man, so women that have never been to a female strip club always have these really horrible like visions of how bad it is. It's so strict. I think women, when their husbands say, oh, we're going to a strip club, they think, oh my God, they're going to be having sex with everybody. No, you're not. No, you can't do anything. That's why it's not even worth going. It's like, welcome to this delicious buffet where we have chicken and brisket and ribs and all sorts of different sandwiches and salads and a whole plethora of drinks. And you got to pay a whole bunch of money to get into the buffet, but you can't eat anything. You can't touch anything. You can't make a plate. Ooh, look at this barbecued beef. Look at this delicious hot, buttery, salty corn on the cob. Look at the baked beans with bits of bacon. And all this is on display. And you can't even get a nibble. The best you can do is smell it. That's all you can do. You can't eat anything. You can't taste anything. You know how horrible that is? And you think about it like, wait a minute. I just paid, with the cover charge and with a round of drinks, I just paid $90 to walk into a buffet, and you leave even more hungry than when you came. It's not worth it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just know, at Brewery Credit Union, they find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances, yes to rebuilding credit, yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with your credit specialist and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Keep your business safe, secure, and spotless with the Omega Security Guard and Cleaning Team. Proudly located in Milwaukee and female-owned, Omega delivers professional security and tailored cleaning services to meet your needs. Whether it's event security or a custom cleaning plan, their dedicated team goes above and beyond to exceed your expectations. Because at Omega, they're not just your service provider, they're your partner in peace of mind. Contact Omega Security Guard today or online at omegasecurityguard.com. Omega Security Guard and Cleaning, protecting what matters most.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Here is Ben Jammin with his truth.
Truth Nation and all the juicy jammers out there, can I be honest? Honest about what? Honest about me. Honest about following your dreams. Matthew 16, verse 26. What does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul? I didn't know what I was getting into when my mother birthed me. I never imagined walking out of a job would lead me here. Back in 2017, I was working third shift at a grocery store, hating it. I knew I had to make a change. One day I walked out. No plan, just a leap of faith. 2 months later, I got a job with V100, and it was on and popping. I met Wiz Khalifa, Jerry Springer, Ice Cube, and Charlamagne the God. But in 2020, everything changed. COVID hit, and I was furloughed. But it gave me clarity. Clarity on who I was, who my real friends were, and what I truly wanted. After 8 months, I got an opportunity with 1017 The Truth. I got the chance to speak on air, and things took off. I started as a producer, and now I'm the host of Jammin' with Juice. I've spoken with the White House, NBA All-Stars, and even killed an unreleased track with one of your favorite rappers. Through it all, I remained vulnerable with you, Truth Nation, especially after losing my dad. But here's the truth. It's not just about following your dreams. It's about preparing for them. What you want to happen is going to happen. But if you're not ready for it, you have to watch it pass you by. As a great prophet once said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So if it wasn't for the divine timing of the George Floyd assassination, the time that I took for myself to become greater, or the vision of the CEO of our company, 1017 The Truth, or myself wouldn't be here. So I call it divine timing. I can tell you to follow your dreams, but it's much better if you prepare for them.
This has been Truth Takes on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Listen to Jammin' with Juice with Ben Jammin and Carrie Noni weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In the early 2000s, there used to be a bar on the corner of Water Street and Humboldt. My favorite joint. What neighborhood? I guess you would call that. That's somewhere between River West and Brady Street neighborhood. Right there on the corner of Humboldt and Water Street. Right there at that four-way intersection. It's called Finks now. And I don't think I've been in there since it's been called Finks. But I'm talking... I was going to it's called the Red Room at the time, right on the corner of Water and Humboldt. On the southwest corner of Water and Humboldt, and it's called the Red Room. Cool little spot. They'd have DJs in there. They played decent little hip-hop music. It was always very, very diverse. That's where we would go for happy hour if we ever went out during the week, and that's where we would always start our weekends on Fridays. The spot called the Red Room. It's been closed for years. What I didn't know about the Red Room, and it was always very diverse, and there was a lot of women were there. Lots of women. And, you know, as a man, I want to go to a bar where there's a lot of women just because, you know, the women are better to look at. And I don't want to be in a bar with a bunch of dudes because that means I'm in the wrong place, and it's just a matter of time before a fight breaks out. So, no, thank you. But I love going to the Red Room. Well, the Red Room was owned by a woman named Julia. And at that same time that the Red Room was open, I'm talking early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, 2002, literally 25 years ago. She also owned a bar called Dish, which also was gone. Dish was a lesbian bar because I think somebody brought up there's some lesbian bar next to Stenny's, which haven't been there. How do lesbians, if there's a lesbian bar, can I walk in there and not offend any of them? Will they be mad? Will they gang up on me? Will they try and run me over with their Subarus? I never thought about that for a second because I'm in there because I like women too. And I've never experienced being in a bar of lesbians. I wouldn't want to go there though because I can't really talk to any women because I can't hit on any because she probably doesn't like men. But whatever. So there was a bar called Dish many years ago, and Julia owned both the Red Room and Dish. And Dish, I knew it was a lesbian bar, and I didn't go in there. But it's been closed for probably a decade or more. It was in the Walker's Point area as well. But the Red Room I absolutely love. And the Red Room I didn't think it was a gay bar. It was different back then because this is years before the marriage amendment, and gay marriage was still very much illegal. Bill Clinton had signed the Defense of Marriage Act, solidifying in federal legislation the marriage between a man or a woman. So if there were gay bars, you would know where they are because they'd be located in a particular neighborhood. But the Red Room, I didn't really think anything of it. Well, some years later, I was having a conversation with somebody about the Red Room. We were reminiscing about that place. And it made sense because the Red Room, the walls were red, and they had artwork on the walls. And all of the artwork was red. And everything was themed in the color red. It makes sense. It's called the Red Room. I didn't overthink it. It's red on the inside. The walls are red. The artwork is red. Because here's what I come to find out many, many years later. Very, very clever. And I didn't find out until years later. Now, remember, we would go to the Red Room all of the time. It was a really fun spot right there on the corner of Water Street and Humboldt at that four-way intersection on the southwest corner. It is now a bar called Fink's. I have never been to Fink's. I don't know what Fink's is like, but I remember when it was the Red Room. It was called the Red Room because the whole bar was themed after a vagina. Yeah, exactly. My exact reaction, Rick. So you're in the bar itself, and it was owned by a lesbian, and she wanted to provide the experience of hanging out and socializing inside a bar that was themed after being inside of a woman's reproductive organ. And I was like, that's why I felt so comfortable and felt so at home every time I went to. Isn't that crazy, though? Did you guys know that the Red Room was symbolically supposed to be a vagina? Think about it. And everything on the inside was... It probably should have been a little more pink. You know what I mean? You'd think they would have had like pink accents, but I always felt very, very comfortable. It was very welcoming, which makes sense. I always felt very welcome there. Bring back the Red Room. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's Dr. Ken Harris, and you can watch me now live on YouTube every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can watch the best radio show in Wisconsin by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Watch me explore the issues which are shaping our community while also having fun discussions, pop culture, current events, all kind of stuff going on right here on YouTube right now by subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube. It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. There's no better time to upgrade your windows and doors than right now, because you can get up to 6 years of 0% financing at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Yes, no interest for up to 72 months, and the full Pella experience is always included. That means the Pella team is with you from start to finish. They don't disappear after the work is done. Set up your free in-home consultation. You commit to nothing at this point. A Pella design expert will listen to your vision and then present the different colors
colors, sizes, and customizations needed to make that vision a reality. It can feel overwhelming to consider what feels like limitless possibilities, but Pella's design team can help narrow those options down for you to create that dream upgrade. Hurry! Get 0% financing for up to 6 years. Certain restrictions apply, and the deal ends May 31st, 2025. So visit PellaWI.com today.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey Wisconsin, it's construction season and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Age groups, a much larger share of the public says older people at 59%, then younger people at 40% face at least some discrimination in the United States. Where people live, fewer than half of Americans say the people living in rural areas or city dwellers face a lot or some discrimination. But in a larger share, say rural residents are subject to at least some discrimination at 41%. Then say this about people living in cities at 33%. We always consider rural folks as kind of backwards and country and simple and slow because they are. You got some rural areas that don't even have broadband internet. But I don't hold it against them. God bless the rural people, the salt of the earth people, the people that live that very simple country existence. Sometimes I wish I lived out in the country somewhere where you can't even see your neighbors, where it's quiet and peaceful, and you got a bunch of land and you can shoot guns and walk around with no clothes on.
I plan on doing that when I get older.
Walking around with no clothes on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, all of that. Shooting gun range. Yep, all of that.
All right.
A ranch. I want a ranch.
That'd be nice. Just to
want to breed dogs and horses.
All right. Well, I hope your dream comes true, Rick. That sounds like a very peaceful existence.
And I want to shoot shotguns and have my own gun range and ride dirt wheelers and yep, I want to do all that.
All right. Well, I want that to come true for you. I'll get an invitation to your ranch, but when I come, put your clothes on. Put on some clothing.
Also, before my semi-retirement, I also want to kind of like semi-retire in Miami. I want to like live on South Beach and, do that type of thing before I go into full retirement.
Yeah, you're going to have to choose because those are two very different things. And
I know it's two different lifestyles. It could work.
South Beach ain't going to be there no more because Miami is all that is sinking.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Financially, how much does racism in America cost? Racism has imposed substantial economic burden on the United States. A report by Citigroup estimates that over the past 20 years, systemic racism and discrimination against Black Americans alone has cost the United States approximately $16 trillion. Here's a breakdown of the economic losses The Citigroup report identifies several key areas contributing to this economic loss. Wage disparities. Black workers lost an estimated $113 billion in potential wages over the past 20 years due to barriers in obtaining college degrees. Housing market. Discriminatory practices in home lending led to a $218 billion reduction in sales because black applicants were often denied home sales. Business investment. Limited access to business loans for black entrepreneurs resulted in approximately $13 trillion with a T, trillion dollars in lost business revenue. Addressing these disparities could yield significant economic benefits. Citigroup estimates that closing racial gaps in wages, in education, housing, and investment today, right now, could add $5 trillion to the United States GDP over the next 5 years. So $1 trillion a year could be added to the U.S. economy if we eliminate racial discrimination in key areas against black people. That's why we all just need to figure out our minor differences and work them out. Maybe I should just go pull a white person aside and be like, hey, what is it about me as a black person that you don't like? And some of the stuff could very, very well be easily dispelled. They'll probably say something, well, you're probably on welfare. No, I'm gainfully employed. Well, you're probably in a gang. Actually, I am not. I am not at all gang affiliated. Well, you probably like that hip-hop music. In fact, I do, and hip-hop is an incredible art form where the voice is the instrument and poetry and prose is the literary art form that is respected all across the continent. Well, you probably are dumb. You didn't graduate high school. Actually, I have a college degree and even have a handful of master's degree credits. We could probably dispel some of these ridiculous stereotypes because racism in America, just against African Americans, I don't know what it is combined the way we discriminate against other people, LGBTQ, and of course we pay women less and all these other groups, and illegal migrants are probably discriminated against too, which is going to diminish their economic impact because they work in this country and they pay into Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They pay into that system and they will never receive the benefits of it. So having them here and working helps our folks who are retired and living off of those benefits. It costs us money. And what are we even getting out of it? I don't think we're getting anything out of being so damn discriminatory. So we're going to do a couple of things here because I want to be optimistic heading into the future. Got one more day left in the work week. We're going to have a great day tomorrow. We're going to have a great show. Who knows what we're going to talk about. But then we're going to take this weekend and we're going to reflect. And we're going to give reverence to those that we missed that are no longer here because it is Memorial Day weekend. And we're going to do a lot of self-reflecting. And then when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to be refreshed. And we're going to be renewed and we're going to be reinvigorated. And we are all going to work together to try and solve the nation's problems. So take this weekend, do some reflecting and some commemorating of those that have passed away. But then when we get back here on Tuesday, it's going to be all serious business. Looks like we have a caller that we're going to take, and they're going to get the last word. Murray, you're on 101.7 The Truth.
Hey, young man, how are you today? I'm calling on behalf of the small bars. You talk about the downtown, Brady Street, and all the bars around there, but you never say anything about the smaller inner city bars. 53206. There are a lot of nice bars where people still sip on their cocktails, whether it's a Canadian Club or a Crown Royal, and they have a great, great time. And some of those people that come by my place are 80 years old, you know?
That's probably why I don't go there.
Time.
I can't hang out with somebody that's 80. So what's the name of your bar?
No.
Give your bar. Murray. Okay. Where's Murray's? Where's it located?
Townsend and Hopkins, on the corner of Thompson and Hopkins.
All right.
We've been there almost 11 years, and we don't have those problems that they have downtown. You know, owner's always on site, number one.
Are you
we
the
play
owner?
absolutely no rap. I am the owner.
All right.
We play absolutely no rap. We don't even play hip hop if it's got like violence in it. Like They Not Like Us. That song hit me the wrong way. It was a decent song for somewhere else. It just didn't fit in Murray's. And I stand on that. You know, it's a family-run business, and we love our customers, and we appreciate our bartenders. And, you know, when you give love like that to them people, they show you love in return.
That's right. So Murray,
that's what we do
on Townsend and Hopkins. That's right. You got any drink specials?
Yep, I do.
What you got?
BOGO Mondays, buy one get one free. BOGO Mondays.
Ooh.
Starting at 5:00 with my boy Landry. Yeah.
Is that anything?
We have a good time.
Is that anything or just rail? Buy one get one
That's
on Monday.
Anything. We don't even have a rail. Rail make people act up. You come in there and buy a $3 drink, you gonna act a fool. No, our drinks start at $6, and you know that's just is how it is. So you start getting cheaper, you start getting a cheaper crowd. Keep your drink prices a regular price, and you won't have those problems.
What's your capacity? How big is Murray's?
79.
Oh, that's not small. Do you have food? You got food at Murray's?
We, quote unquote, we do tacos on Thursday. My wife has been doing that about 8 years. Shout out to my wife, love you back. But like I said, some of the inner city bars, I can name a few of them that I frequent, and they love me, and they show love and support us as an inner city bar. And, man, we have a great time.
It sounds
without the drama.
Wonderful. Thank you for calling and telling us about Murray's. But, Murray, before you go, I'm curious. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm pushing 60.
Okay. Thank you, Murray. Appreciate your call. Everybody go to Murray's. His wife makes tacos on Thursdays. He got buy one, get one. Because y'all know what I was saying. Like, should we do a Beyond the Mic on Townsend and Hopkins? And the reason why we probably shouldn't is because if we did a Beyond the Mic at Murray, we would be the ghetto crowd that would mess it up. And we don't want to go on the Murray's acting a fool. All right, have a great day. Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace is up next.
This is 101.7.